ISCA after I'd been in the service for a long time. I'd been in iRacing for well over a decade and spent most of my time in NASCAR series, a lot of fixed racing for the most part, and really just got to a point in my iRacing career where I really wanted to get involved in open setup racing versus fixed, partially because I was just looking for a little higher level of competition, maybe a little cleaner driving and maybe get away from some of the challenges that go along with fixed racing on the service. And it took me a while as I was really searching out leagues because I kind of had a very specific thing I was looking for. A, I wanted to be an established league. B, I just really wanted clean, quality drivers to be racing around. And once I found the ISCA, I found out really quick that it was going to check all those boxes, and I've been with the ISCA ever since. I think the things I like the most about the ISCA is it's a developmental league, but it's also a league that's got some veteran drivers. And I think really what I was looking to do was try to surround myself with some people to better my talent, my skill, and my craft. And that's one thing the ISCA has really delivered. It's got great quality drivers. You learn how to race in close quarters around some of these other people. And I think the other thing, when you do look at the developmental side, once I joined the ISCA, my I rating has soared, my safety rating is better than it's ever been. And it's also really great to see drivers that join our league, really excel over time, some of which stay with the league and some that maybe move on to some bigger things, which is really exciting. We have a great history of developing drivers. We have a great alumni list. But I just really enjoy, participating in the league and just continue to get better each week that goes by. Yeah, the competition in the ISCA is awesome. I think a lot of us talk about it, each week of just how blessed we are to have such a high level of driving capabilities and just a quality group of drivers overall. And I think that's just still, I think the thing I like the most about the ISCA. You build a lot of friendships, a lot of camaraderie. We're really competitive on Thursday and Saturday nights, but it's really fun also after the race to kind of review the race start to finish. And we do a lot of coaching about what's working, what's not working. Not saying we give away all of our secrets, but I think anyone that joins it, there's a common theme. They get better each week, their I rating goes up. We see them in strength of field races over time, week in, week out. And that's just something that's really fun. Even though we compete, we really appreciate the league we participate in. And I think in most cases, we're highly competitive with some of the best and cleanest drivers on the service. And if you like long green flag runs, we don't have a lot of cautions in our races. We tend to have green flag pit stops. But those are just some things that I really enjoy about the league the most, is the quality of the competition, the lack of cautions, and just the long runs that really leads to some really awesome racing. Yeah, I think people that should join the ISCA are people like myself. When I go back a few years ago and I was really looking to up my game and get involved in open setup league racing, for so long I just wasn't involved in that because I just didn't. Well, I didn't seek it out, but I really didn't also know how to get started. And once I started doing research, it was a really easy choice that the ICA was a place I really wanted to be and get involved with. And all those things I talked about earlier have happened to me, from improving I rating, improving my skill. And, I'm someone that I really enjoy the ICA. I'll probably stay there, but don't think that, if you're coming to the ICA, that it's something long-term. That in some cases you can find a long-term home like a lot of us, but we develop drivers, and ultimately we'd like to see our drivers participate for a period of time and hopefully move their way up the ranks, whether that be into road.
Hello and welcome everyone to the ISCA Thursday Night Cup Series. We sure are excited to be here tonight for the Sundrop 313 at Talladega Super Speedway. Big bad Talladega, 2.66 miles of pure, just adrenaline. Of course, my name is Brian Britt, and I'm joined in the booth by none other than Big Al. How you doing tonight, Big Al?
Hey, I'm doing a lot better than some of these guys down here on this track are going to be. If this week carries any inkling of what we, any trace of what we saw last week, Brian, I think it's going to be pretty exciting.
Well, I know last week at Martinsville, that was definitely a completely different racetrack to what we're going to see here tonight. Of course, that was a half mile and was quite, I'd say, dramatic. We saw a lot of beating and banging and wrecks and stuff like that. We definitely still could see some beating and banging and wrecks here. But, of course, when you get in a wreck at Talladega, a lot of times that's it for you, just considering these guys have been hitting speeds in practice of almost over, I do believe, a little over 200 miles an hour, which is just crazy fast for sure. But Just to go over a little bit of the race facts here for tonight's race. 118 laps on the docket. Stages 24 and 53. 5 sets of tires, 4 actually down in the pits. Fuel window is about 36 laps. So that is, of course, going to be a point of contention, I think, all night long. I know in some of the opens, I've done a couple opens this week and have gotten wrecked out a lot of them, but a lot of them have been quite green. So I think that green flag pit stops, the thing that we love, Big Al, is going to be a big part of this.
Yeah, and absolutely, I cannot wait. Totally pumped up to be back at Talladega. This is one of those plate tracks with the new damage model and the tire model doing what it is. I think it's going to be exciting to see how this thing plays out. A lot of drivers coming out here tonight that get an opportunity to kind of shake it up a little bit and see if maybe we can get somebody besides Brendan Pasalacqua to have a win out here, Brian.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing. Could we see a first-time winner here today? I'm looking at like a Paul Olson or something like that. I know he's very excited about this race here at Talladega. Looking at the points here for the Cup standings, Brandon Pasalacqua, who you just mentioned, has 1 win. Brian Johnson sits in second place in the points by only 4 points separate those two positions there. Ryan Strunk is in third. I don't see him. Oh, no, he is out there, so he is going to be definitely making the grid. Josh Schaffner, fourth place. Scott Naslin, fifth. Shane Parrish in sixth. Kenny Powell, seventh. 8th place, Randy Mullins. Chris Johnson, 9th. Greg Wycinski, 10th. And let's quickly go over the Super Cup points. And, of course, looking at those, Brandon Pasalacqua at the top of the board once again. 2 wins on the season with 48 points in between him and Brian Johnson, who has as well 2 wins. Scott Naslin has a win. He's in third. Kenny Powell is in fourth. He's just been consistent. And Josh Schaffner, of course, has a win as well. He's in fifth in the Super Cup point standings. Ryan Strunk, 6th place. Shane Parrish, 7th. Greg Wycinski, 8th. Chris Johnson, 9th. And Randy Mullins rounds out the top 10 there. And, of course, with that, I do believe we are wrapping up qualifying. So we'll take a brief step away. We'll play our national anthem. Gotta definitely play our national anthem, pay a little bit of attention to our nation here. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light was so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we walked were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular upon bird singing out, yeah, through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the
And now, race fans, for the most famous words in motorsports.
I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms, from camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I'm so tough, bro. We get a hug, man. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
It's gonna get hot today. Grab an ice cold sun drop and show us how you drop it.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
And drop it.
'Cause I got it going on. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
A thirst-quenching citrus soda just dropped coast to coast. Sun drop.
That's how you drop it. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We have the grid set for this evening's action. Patrick Gitter going to be starting up on the pole with a 52.909. Of course, Brandon Paslakwa starts in second place, with third place belonging, I do believe, to Kenny Powell. Good qualifying position there for Kenny Powell. Brian Johnson starts in fourth place. Fifth place is Scott Naslin. I do want to give a shout out to Scott Naslin for sharing this stream on Facebook. Mark Sanchez also starts in sixth place. Seventh place is Randy Mullins. Derek Jacobs starts in eighth place. Ninth place, Heath Snyder. Al Kozlowski rounds out the top 10. And, of course, 11th place, Greg Wachinski.
That's going to put Chris D. Johnson in 12th, Brian, with Matt DeCiani in 13th. 14th is Blair Holloman. 15th, Josh Schaffner. Darren Mullins starts in 16th, with J.C. Evans starting back in 17th. 18th sees Alexander Carr. And 19th, right beside him, is going to be Jose Acosta. Shane Parrish rounds out the top 20. Paul Osen, 21st. Cody Saucier in 22nd. Ryan Strunk's going to round out this 23-car field.
Definitely a nice size field here tonight for the action. I mean, 23 cars definitely going to provide, I think, a lot of beating and banging, and then we could probably see some attrition set in. We'll have to wait and see how this all works out as everybody's getting set to get rolling here. I do believe guys doing some little bit of last-minute adjustments on the setups. And a lot of people talk about Talladega. They don't think setup matters that much, Big Al, but I'd say it really does. I think you want to have a good, stable handling car that is capable of pushing. That is going to be the big thing.
Yeah, and also you want to make sure that if somebody shoves you from behind, that you got a car that's going to be able to not actually run away on you. Though these cars, they're generally pretty predictable, but the one thing that's not predictable is what's going to happen when you got a guy that's going to be ramming you from the back.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's going to be one of the big parts about it is getting that hit in the back. And one thing about these next gens as well is much different than the predecessor is that you aren't able to really bump draft the guy that was already pushing. Don't push the pusher was one of the golden rules. Well, that is kind of a different story here with this next gen car. You're kind of able to push the pusher a little bit better here. Now, it does still kind of cause a little bit of issues if you're not really square. It could cause guys to kind of get a little wiggly. So we got to keep an eye out for that. Of course, visibility in these next gen cars when you're behind other drivers can be quite difficult as well.
And you just got to remember, there's two types of wiggles. There's big wiggles and there's little wiggles. Little wiggles are fine on a track like this, but those big wiggles, that's what you're definitely going to try to avoid, Brian. But I'm going to say this, though. I do believe these guys are going to give us our money's worth. I think we're going to see a lot of exciting racing here through the first two stages and into the final stretch of this race. Plate racing, Talladega, man, it doesn't get any better than this right here.
Yeah, definitely. I am got the jitters with anticipation right now, and can't wait to see what these guys can do here. I want to definitely talk about some of the qualifiers up here. Derek Jacobs, we always talk about him. How he has a lot of struggles when it comes to a lot of tracks. Even looking at last week Martinsville, he definitely struggled quite a bit. But I think this is going to be one of these places that he's going to have a real opportunity here. He qualified fairly good in 8th place, and lap time is also big out between the top. Guys, top 10. They're not very far apart when it comes to lap times when they're qualifying.
Oh, no, and that's definitely just going to make it even that much more exciting. Because one thing is these guys are going to be jockeying back and forth through the field. We're going to see how it's going to work. If they're going to elect to kind of stay in line, run tandem side by side, maybe go 3 wide, Brian. But I'm really wondering to see if there is a connection. Maybe these cars work faster in groups of 3. Maybe they work faster in groups of 2. I don't know. I think hopefully as the race progresses, and we're sitting here drinking Sun Drop because, I'm going to tell you, I'm from North Carolina, so I probably got about 75% Sun Drop coursing through my veins.
I hear that. That's definitely one of those kind of home, South area kind of things for sure.
Well, that's
we are rolling here.
That's even a jingle. It's a drinking Sun Drop, the down home taste that picks you up.
Yeah, definitely. And we even got a great commercial there for Sun Drop to where I don't know if that song's presented. I haven't really listened to it, but I know it's one of the commercials I've seen before of about Sun Drop, a woman dancing around and stuff like that. I think that Sun Drop definitely makes you get up and want to dance around. We'll have to hopefully these guys on the racetrack don't dance around too much though. But you talked about the 2 cars, 3 cars, 4 cars. One thing we've seen in previous plate races here with this next-gen car, it seems like the more cars you have, the better it is. But then I think there's a limit to that. I think we've even talked about that. If you have too many cars, then not everybody might not be on the same page and might not be of the same speed, which can kind of slow down the pack.
And the one good thing here, too, is the lights are off on the pace car, and we will be going to racing here momentarily. But these guys, we've got the advent of the teams. There's a lot more teams in the ISCA that are represented here. So hopefully we'll be able to get a little team dynamic in this as well. And I just want to say this one more thing on our title sponsor, Sun Drop. Dale Earnhardt was actually sponsored by Sun Drop as well.
That's crazy. And of course now his son Dale Earnhardt Jr. is sponsored by him, and I do believe in the Cars Tour, if I'm not mistaken. But I just pulled up the little graphic there about the teams. Of course, G&G right now is at the top of the board, but Hyperforce is a newcomer that has really been making their presence known and has been really making waves as we see the pace car dipping down pit road. One thing about Talladega that we've always kind of talked about is, this is way different than Daytona when it comes to the restarts. You have to wait a little bit until you get to that restart zone. Of course, the start-finish line is almost on the other end of the front stretch, but the green flag is out for the first time here tonight as Patrick Gitter gets us up through the gears. Hopefully he's going to be able to get a good start. One thing about Talladega, you don't want to go too early because that'll give everybody else a chance to draft up to you. One thing about this next gen as well, Big Al, it's very easy to lose the draft. So you're going to see a lot of these guys definitely trying to see if they can't hang on to this pack.
Yeah, and the question about Patrick Gitter, is he going to be able to get her done as he is a new driver here? Brian, we hadn't seen a whole lot of him, and that's going to bring up a lot of questions because these ISCA guys, they're kind of a little bit tricky with who they trust.
100%, but look at the top line, really starting to make moves here. Brian Johnson on the rear end of Brandon Pasalacqua, really giving him some good pushes. They are, I do believe, cleared to the bottom if they wanted to take it, but I don't think they want to. I think they're going to try to stay up top. Why change what works? But it looks like, oh, no, they are going to move down to the bottom.
But I did like
the run there.
I did like the fact that Brian Johnson and Brandon stayed together like that. A little bit of 3-wide action right there coming across the start-finish line. That's going to make things even that much more exciting. I do believe that one car is going to be trying to shuffle his way to the back.
That's
Derek Jacobs. 27 of Derek Jacobs, yep.
It looks like he does not want to be a part of the festivities too early here. We see Al Kozlowski trying to push Mark Sanchez as they're already getting ready to possibly go 3 wide. Sanchez looks like Al Kozlowski's going to go to the top 3 wide, going to get shuffled out probably because of this.
Yeah, he's going to get around Sanchez there on the high side. DeCiani's going to be on the low side. I think that's just about, Al really not wanting to check up there. He didn't want to get out of the throttle, Brian, because that's one thing. Once you do that, it's almost like a death sentence on a track like this.
Yeah, it very much is. And that's not in Al Kozlowski's way. I mean, not to talk bad about him or anything like that, but he does not like to lift off that gas pedal. So, I mean, and who can blame him?
Got a trio forming on that high side. Now, these guys have been working pretty good together, trying to keep it together. I'm going to see if they can actually get it organized. A little bit of gap there on the leader of the pack, but I think right now they're getting ready to come, and you'll see that high line is going to be starting to pull away. Matt DeCiani popped up there. Now that made it 4, but I'm telling you, when it was just 3, those guys were their fastest.
And this is one of the best camera angles we could probably have here at a track like Talladega. It really shows the different lanes kind of moving back and forth.
Is that a drone view?
Yeah, we got a drone following around these cars at 200 miles an hour. As you see, look at a little bit of a wiggle there from Brian Johnson. You can see every little bit of movement here in this top 5, top 6. Matt DeCiani definitely working together up on the top side with, I do believe that is the 29. I think he's actually a different number. I think he's actually the 3 of Heath Snyder there.
Yep, Heath Snyder is the 3 that's being shown as the 29.
But, yeah, they're definitely making hay up there. Oh, a little bit of a wiggle there for Gitter. Scott Naslin thinks about jumping down to the bottom. Bottom line starts to get a big run here. We're going to see this all night. It looks like Gitter decides to drop down in front of Brandon Passalacqua.
Yeah, Gitter stopping that run there, Brian. He's wanting to maintain control of this race right now. And now he's going to wait and watch to see if that high line comes. But remember, you can't be in 2 places at one time. So you really only get maybe 1 or 2 good shots to do that. And look right there, you'll see exactly what happens. Once he showed his hand, now he's going to get fanned out and finds himself in the middle of a 3-wide situation.
Yeah, I think they just did not want to follow him. He was trying to go in between the lines, and you can't really do that this early and not provoke the ire of all the rest of the drivers out there in the pack. So 2 drivers up on the top. Looks like they're trying to make something happen, but they have the middle groove, which has, I do believe, roughly 10 drivers a part of it.
And I do believe 3 is the magic number. I think it needs to be a trio, not a tandem. That's what I think is going to work here. Whoa!
Yeah, almost problems there, I do believe, for Heath Snyder. Him and Scott Naslin got really close there to having some contact.
Yeah, and that's the thing, the objects in your mirror are a lot closer than they appear, Brian, and you don't have as much time as you may assume in order to get down there in front of the guy or up there to check him up.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And the thing about it is, if you switch between these lanes quite a bit, like Patrick Gitter was kind of doing, that can cause issues. I mean, we a lot of times, the different lanes, top line versus bottom line, they're moving at different rates of speed. And when you drop or jump up in front of a line, a lot of times they're moving faster than you, and that can cause issues. But Brandon Passalacqua right now has been able to keep this lead. Of course, he does have Kenny Powell and Brian Johnson right behind him, so that is 3 G&G teammates already working together. And you also see a little bit further back, of course, Greg Wyszynski and Josh Schaffner trying to work together as well. It looks like Scott Naslin and I do believe Heath Snyder still trying to make that top work. They are going to have some help soon, I do believe, though.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the key, Brian. I think once they get 3 cars up there or better, they'll be faster than they are right now.
Yeah, they definitely will be. And I've seen that top groove really be able to get a lot of speed. Of course, at Talladega. There goes problems for Josh Schaffner. He gets loose. Looks like he's able to save it, though, and is able to slide right back up in front, I do believe, of Ryan Strunk.
I don't know. The mail is still out for delivery on this one as the race is now totally kind of got separated. That's going to cause a big run for that top 4s. They're going to be on the bottom trying to make it happen, but now there's no excuse for that middle row to start to work here, Brian.
100%. It definitely has started to shake up. I think some drivers are going to be starting to be in danger of possibly even losing the draft. I kind of talked all about that a little bit earlier before the race kind of started. That, it's so easy to lose the draft in these next gens. In the truck, you could be about a second back and still be able to catch back up. But here in this next gen, if you're a half a second or more back, you are pretty much up the creek.
Yeah, and Schaffner's really.
The 64, possibly Darren Mullins. Yep, Darren Mullins. A little bit of a new paint scheme there for both Parrish and Mullins. I didn't recognize them, Big Al. That's one thing about the ISCA. Usually I'm pretty good at recognizing cars, but they have a little bit of a different scheme. As we see the top side, you see Patrick Gitter. He's trying to side draft that bottom line, getting really close to Greg Wychinski. You see that works. It kind of breaks that bottom line up a little bit.
Oh, yeah, it does. Gitter is definitely determined to get back up to the front. But what I'm wanting to see is I want to see that third line break out again, because I do believe that it does have a pretty good opportunity to get organized with 3 cars and move up. And they're going to have to do something quick, because right now Brandon Pasalacqua is comfortable. And if these guys can't figure out how to make it work with side drafting, bump drafting, or trio or tandem, I mean, you might as well just go ahead and throw another bird in the wash machine.
100%. And then one thing about it as well, of course, we talk about it every race we do here at the ISCA, that stage points are so important. So I think that's what's a lot of is also making these guys want to really be desperate to get these stage points. I mean, stage 1 ends on lap 23 to 24. So these guys definitely are going to be wanting to take advantage of that. But I think it's too early, though. For Gitter to be so low. He is definitely trying to side draft so much. But he does have a teammate there with Matt DeCiani right there behind him.
It does work, though. I mean, side draft does work. And if that bottom line is going to give it to him, then, you know, I don't really fault him for trying to make that work to his advantage in order to gain the momentum that they need to get that high line, at least to get back up towards the front to make it a side-by-side match.
Yeah, I don't blame him for doing it. The only thing that scares me is, like, if one of those guys on the bottom line gets a big wiggle, then that could end up wrecking the top line. And, you know, that's why I'm saying that you have to really trust the driver that you're trying to side draft. So, I mean, hopefully Gitter knows what he's doing and is weighing the risks versus the reward. But he's definitely slowing down Greg Wychinski. You can see that for sure. But I think you can see the bottom line has way more drivers in it.
Man, I think we've got a problem. J.C. Evans, Paul Olson, I don't see them actually on the racetrack. Maybe you're tracking those two. Maybe too many numbers for me, and it kind of causes my ATO to go crazy. But
they are back here, I do believe, in the 21st and 22nd. Derek Jacobs, though, you were talking about him. He is off the draft.
He is getting ready to cause. Yeah, he is getting ready to cause a significant emotional event for a lot of drivers right here, because once they see him and then they catch him, you know, this is going to be different. You know, and if you've ever been to Talladega, you know, because they don't always show it on TV, but there usually is that one guy that's running around there by himself. And every time he would come around, I'd always jump up and down and start clapping and screaming, you know, and that's what, you know, maybe.
Especially with him verging on 3 wide. I mean, that could be a dangerous scenario if they catch him at just the wrong angle or time. And I'm wondering, I mean, Derek Jacobs had such a good qualifying time. He started in 8th place and then fell back to the rear. And I think that you know, sometimes you could be too cautious at a track like Talladega. And we talked about how easy it is to lose that draft. Well, I mean, he's lost it. And
yeah,
I mean, I think this is a situation that he put himself in, and it's unfortunate to see, but it looks like we do see a little bit of a different running order here. Al Kozlowski has taken the lead.
Hey, the silver bullet. That's awesome. You definitely want Kozlowski out in front, especially on a race like this, because I want him where I can see him, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and there we go. This is going to be a 4-wide scenario.
I mean, that right there looked like Biff and Uber all showed up at the same place, but it was a DoorDash delivery. What the heck?
And they were getting ready to have a brawl. The Domino's delivery driver, the Grubhub guy, the DoorDash guy, they started fighting.
It's prom night. What's going on?
And you can see now the leader is Scott Naslin, of course, who shared our stream on Facebook. So I'm sure everybody that is watching that is a part of his crew probably loving to see this. But Patrick Gitter up on the top trying to see if he can't get some help from Matt DeCiani. They got a good run going, but DeCiani has not got up to the back bumper. We also see, I believe, Corey Saucier and someone else trying to make that top groove work. Who is that with him? And I do believe that is
the three is Corey, right?
Well, yeah. Well, he's actually the 19, but he does have the 3 on his machine. I'm trying to figure out who is that in front of him. I think that is not Alexander Carr. Let's see, it's kind of hard to see what number that is. Might be, I think that's Blair Holloman possibly. Yeah, that is Blair Holloman there. And the 10, and that I love that paint scheme. That kind of reminds me a lot of a Mark Martin Valvoline kind of paint scheme there.
Yeah, absolutely. The throwback.
Oh, Kenny Powell in the middle, 3 wide.
To the greatest driver to never receive a championship. Look at that tandem right there. I think they were making that tandem work. But here comes 2 more.
So, yeah, Al Kozlowski definitely. I don't think anybody's going to be able to stop him unless they wreck him. He is looking really good right now.
When Kozlowski and Passalacqua were running by themselves just as 2, they were faster. So I'm thinking there's got to be something with the numbers here. We just hopefully we'll get a chance to see how it works. Kozlowski going to take Passalacqua with him. They're going to go high around the 27 of Derek Jacobs.
Yeah, Jacobs now is going to be a lap down. Now, of course, he could possibly get the lucky dog here.
And he just got hit. Contact on the back end of Carr as the rest of the field kind of came charging up on him, really putting him in a bad situation, Brian.
Yeah, and I think he was trying to stay on the bottom. That way he could try to get into the draft. Of course, that being Derek Jacobs. Ryan Strunk, I do believe, got into the rear end of him. Got him up to speed quite quickly, that's for sure. I think he's going to be just fine and stay with the draft. So he will hopefully be the lucky dog. Of course, I do believe, I think next time by or in a lap or so, we're going to have 5 laps to go here in this stage.
Speaking of dogs, the 42 of Jose Acosta, along with Darren Mullins, these guys.
Oh, call that man a dog.
No, I mean, I'm saying like his car is running like a 3-legged dog. I mean, that's what I'm saying. That these guys are not with the pack.
Hate to see that. He's all the way back here in 18th by himself.
And behind him, you got the 64 Mullins, who's kind of on a little quest by himself also.
You hate to see that, too. I mean, that's not something you wish on your worst enemy, to be by yourself at Talladega. I mean, this place can be some of the most exciting and adrenaline-inducing racing you see on the service. But when you're on the track by yourself, it's the most boring racing you could ever see on the service. And you're also going to be really slow.
It could be the safest, too, though.
It definitely is the safest, but when the pack catches you, that's when it's not so safe. Because a lot of times they're going, at least 15 to 20 mile an hour faster than you.
But who says the big one couldn't happen and he would just slowly roll around and just see,
Oh, yeah. Everybody. I've been in that situation before to where a big one happens and I'm just all by myself and, oh, woe is me, like, woe is me, I'm all by myself. But then the big one happens and I'm like, thank goodness I was by myself. But Al Kozlowski does lead this thing. He's got Patrick Gitter right behind him. Matt DeCiani's in 3rd place. Kenny Powell 4th. Greg Wachinski in 5th. So it looks like everybody kind of playing nice at the moment. But, of course, closer and closer we get to the end of the stage, the less I think these guys are going to be willing to play nice. See Ryan Strunk trying to take it side by side a little bit further back in the group. He is fighting for that 10th place position. And that is one of the most important spots on the track, Big Al, that 10th spot. That's where the start of the points are. And you got to get those points. I mean, you have to. Those stage points can make or break your season. A lot of guys sleep on those stage points.
Well, stage points are everything, Brian, because that's one of the unique opportunities you get here in the ISCA. You get to make points in the middle of the race. You get to do it 2 times before the end of the race. And if you're not taking advantage of those situations, because believe me, 10 cars will, you're going to be on the losing end of that situation. And, man, this thing is really starting to look like Chinese arithmetic. I mean, it's not having that smooth texture that we usually get on a Talladega race.
Yeah, these guys are definitely battling. I mean, a lot of times we see at Talladega races here in the ISCA, a lot of guys kind of chill out, run single file for a long time, but we have seen clean and green racing. I've been loving every bit of it. I mean, already 20 laps in, and we haven't seen, a caution yet. We've seen some kind of close things that might have led to a caution, but these guys have done a good job at keeping themselves kind of in the race here.
Why does it seem like you're summoning a caution?
I mean, yeah, that's the broadcaster's curse, right?
Yep. And
Well,
I'm just gonna sit back and call it.
Look at Kenny Powell. He goes to the top, and it looks like Scott Naslin decides to go with him. They're going to leave Matt DeCiani out to dry. Here comes Patrick Gitter trying to get to the inside of Al Kozlowski. Now, both of these drivers do not have help. Oh, a little contact there.
Yeah, and there DeCiani got picked up by Ryan Strunk. Strunk now, and watch there DeCiani giving a strong bump to Al Kozlowski. That's going to get him going, but Kenny Powell up top. Sorry, that was Gitter actually that got the bump.
Yeah, Al Kozlowski got hung out of tire, and there goes Greg Wyszynski. Big accident here.
There it is. At least 6 cars involved in that one, Brian. We're definitely going to have to go back to the tape. Greg Wyszynski looking like he is taking a big brunt of it, though, and this is going to even make it even that much. Oh, this is going to be the stage 1 caution, Brian. So you can go ahead and call that top 10.
Yeah, taking a look back at it, of course. Yeah, while we're looking at it, Patrick Gitter, of course, stage 1 winner, I do believe. Matt DeCiani in second place. Kenny Powell third. Scott Naslin fourth. Ryan Strunk fifth. Heath Snyder sixth. Chris Johnson in seventh. Josh Schaffner in eighth. Ninth place, Brandon Pasalacqua in 10th. Brian Johnson. Those will be the top 10 points-paying positions, I do believe.
Looks like we also lost the 88 of Kozlowski and the 64 of Mullins. Both of those 2 drivers recipients of that dreaded meatball flag. Kozlowski actually took a tow.
Yeah, I mean, he had such a tremendous hit along with Greg Wyszynski. Let's take a look here. And they were 4 wide. They were 4 wide, and just not enough room. And
yeah,
unfortunately, just contact. That was never going to work.
It's never going to work. I don't care how talented you are. When you're 4 wide situation at Talladega, I mean, you might as well go ahead and make it 5 wide and bring the wrecker and the ambulance out.
100%. A lot of drivers getting caught up in that, unfortunately, as well. And I think it all kind of stems from Kenny Powell choosing not to push out Kozlowski. And I don't blame him. I mean, they were so much different momentum. But look at Chris Johnson. He decided to take it 4 wide. And it was on the apron there. And that's what kind of led to a big contact. Of course, Mark Sanchez involved. We see Alexander Carr on the 18. So a lot of damaged vehicles. Somehow Greg Wyszynski's still driving. But it looks like we got some guys going down pit road. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll go ahead and talk to our stage 1 winner.
It's gonna get hot today. Grab an ice cold sun drop and show us how you drop it.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
And drop it.
'Cause I got it going on. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
A thirst-quenching citrus soda just dropped coast to coast. Sun drop.
That's how you drop it. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go ahead and pull up Mr. Gitter.
He's here.
All right, we got him here in the booth. Mr. Patrick Gitter, great job on the stage 1 win. You, of course, qualified on the pole. Looked like that was quite hectic racing out there. What was it looking like from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, these cars, this track, this draft package, it's a lot of give and take, a lot of big runs. So you just kind of have to time your run and make some friends, know where your teammates are at. I got to give a shout out to Matt. He gave me a heck of a push coming out of 4 towards the end of the stage there. That helped us get up front in the stage. So it'll be interesting to see if we, keep seeing more of that the rest of the race.
Yeah, definitely got to keep your friends close, that's for sure, here at Talladega. I mean, and you kind of were on no man's land there for a second when you were racing with Al Kozlowski, kind of way out in front of the pack, and then they all kind of came up on you. Luckily, they did get you back up to speed. That same cannot be said for Al Kozlowski, though, so it's definitely good that you had friends. But how do you like Talladega? Do you think, the new package and stuff like that, is it working well? What are your opinions?
I like it. I think there's a lot of strategy. I mean, the side draft is huge here. You can decide to lay at the back of the pack, and kind of bide your time, or you can choose to run up front and try to dominate the whole lane and control the race. So I don't know. I mean, I think it is what you make of it. But I mean, my philosophy lately has been the less cars in front of me, the better to
Yeah,
avoid
that's
the big
right.
one.
Less to avoid, right? Yeah,
Yep,
100%.
exactly.
Well, I think the pace car lights should be going out here in just a second. I do want to ask who you want to shout out after your Stage 1 victory.
Yeah, I want to shout out teammate Matt DeCiani. Without him, we probably wouldn't have got 1-2 there. He gave me that huge push out of 4 EPI teammates here in the race tonight, and really just elite performance industries in general. They do a heck of a job every week, getting us some great sets to run. One here Monday night, SOF this week, heck of a race set. Hoping to get another one tonight. We'll see. If not me, hopefully one of the teammates can bring it home. But you guys as well, thanks to the broadcast and for what you do to share the race.
All right, well, thanks for your time, Patrick, and good luck with the rest of the race. Hopefully we'll get to talk to you later.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
That was Patrick Gitter, the winner of stage number 1. Pace car lights are out. We're going on to the backstretch, getting ready to get them back going once again, Big Allen. What an accident that was. I'll tell you what, I think we're going to have some definitely some attrition setting in. I do believe we see Greg Wachinski's 1 lap down, Al Kozlowski 3 laps down, Randy Mullins is 2 laps down. Mark Sanchez is still on the leading lap, but I think he's still trying to get some heavy damage repaired.
Yeah, Mullins also still out, as well as Kozlowski. So that took a couple cars away from us here, man, probably a little bit too soon. But I don't think you're going to be done with that, because one thing that you have happen here, especially when you're doing stage racing, is we get everybody back together again. And as this thing goes on and progresses, when the cars aren't together, you have the least probability of it. But as soon as you have that traffic build up, Brian, the anticipation and the checkups, it just always leads to the unexpected.
Oh, yeah. Talladega is one of the most unpredictable racetracks, I think, on the NASCAR schedule. I think the only thing you could predict about Talladega is that you're going to have a big one at some point. I mean, it's not a matter of when it's going to happen or if it's going to happen. It's going to be more of a matter of when. But looks like pace car is going to be getting on out of the way as Patrick Gitter has the field in hand once again. Let's see what these guys can do. I mean, like you said, everybody's going to be kind of back together here. All the guys that lost the draft will be back in it. Looking at, Paul Olson and things like that. But there are some drivers in this pack that were involved in that wreck that might definitely be still feeling the accident. It looks like the green flag comes out a little bit early there. Interesting restart. Kind of throws a little bit of a discombobulation into the field. See, the top 4 are kind of starting to pull away, but I think Scott Naslin still has the draft here. He sits in 5th at the moment. He has, I do believe, right behind him, Heath Snyder. And it looks like they're going to go 3 wide in the middle. Look at that. Chris Johnson dives down in front. That was a hairy move.
The run. I mean, he did everything in his power to stop that run from happening, Brian. About the only thing that didn't happen was him going sideways.
I'm surprised he didn't get killed just now. I mean, because, those guys were going at least 5 or so mile an hour faster than him. And I think they're going to hang him out to dry. I mean, I'm sure they don't appreciate that. I mean, who would?
That was a video game move.
Yeah, it was. I mean, he barely got in front of them in time. As you see Patrick Gitter starting to try to get Chris Johnson up to speed. Chris Johnson definitely known for his aggressiveness, but he's definitely showing that here tonight. Scott Naslin, though, has taken the lead. He's got Heath Snyder in tow.
Yep, Scott Naslin and Heath Snyder now taking the lead. We've already split this thing up a lot here just in the first lap here of the restart, which is very kind of unusual to say the least. I was expecting it to be a lot tighter for a little bit longer.
I think a lot of that might come down to some of the drivers having damage as well. When you have those other drivers that have damage kind of sprinkled into the field, they can slow down a line easily. As you see, Gitter just decides to jump up with Matt DeCiani in tow, and they're going to try to make a run for it. Kenny Powell's with them. Looks like Ryan Strunk has moved it down to the bottom. He's going to try to see if he can't draft up to Chris Johnson here. Patrick Gitter's been having a little bit of a blinking issue here tonight. And that's not the this is not the place to have a blinking issue.
Yeah, this is not the place where you want to be in and out.
Not at all, but it looks like everybody's doing well. Another person has just entered the top 10, who was all by himself in that first stage, was Jose Acosta. He's now up in, I do believe, 8th, fighting side by side, trying to see what he can do in that 42 machine. Top line has only 3 drivers with them. They're still making good time. So you talked about that before, about how many cars do you need? I think 3 is just enough.
You know, and also a lot of things going on here. Welcome back, Al Kozlowski. Number 1, we still got the 54 Randy Mullins on pit road, which is weird because I thought Darren had the meatball flag. But the new damage model, Brian, at a track like Talladega, it is going to take its toll on these cars. You know, you don't necessarily get the broken toe link, but you do get all of the BS that kind of goes with it, as Greg Wycinski's also back on the race surface.
Yeah, glad to see those guys back out, probably getting their required repairs kind of fixed. But one thing about Talladega, even if you get those repairs fixed, I'm sure their engines are probably lacking in a little bit of the speed that they had before. So it's going to be a process that these guys are going to have to undergo to continue to try to fix those cars when we do get cautions. Of course, Talladega, when you have a caution laps are quite long, so you do have ample opportunity to get some damage fixed. But the thing is, so far tonight, we've had cautions be few and far between. So hope, you know, I mean, I'm sure they're hoping that they're going to get more opportunity to get those cars fixed and so they can get on the lead lap. Looks like the top line's starting to fall away a little bit here as Scott Naslin is very much secured that lead. Looks like him and Heath Snyder. I think those both drivers are on the same team as well. Naslin, I've heard him shout out Hyperforce before, and I'm pretty sure Heath Snyder is definitely on Hyperforce as well. So those guys are working well together right now. Of course, they both have a Bruzy on the side of those race cars.
Yeah, those are the only 2 guys on that Hyperforce team that are actually out here racing tonight. So, yeah, like you said, or like they said, you know, it's about dance partners at this junction right now.
Yeah,
and I'm going to tell you, man, I am so pumped up with the amount of teams that we actually have going on this season in the ISCA, because it has an entirely different dimension to racing, especially when you come to a racetrack like Talladega where, you know, teamwork is so pivotal.
Yeah, teamwork is so pivotal, but I think it's all going to be about surviving as well, because, I mean, it's all going to be about how many teammates you got at the end, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you got to weather this storm. I mean, this is one of those tracks where, you know, everything that looks like money, you don't just want to reach out there and grab it, because it'll cost you a lot more than it'll ever pay you.
Yeah, 100%. The car cost to fix that car is going to cost a ton. The points cost is going to cost a ton. As we see, Kenny Powell has decided to drop down to the bottom. Of course, I do believe he is going to be scored in the 10th place position. So now only 2 drivers remain on the top. I think a lot of drivers are starting to say, "Hey, let's single file out. Let's just run it. Let's just get some laps in and survive." Of course, I do believe that towards the end of stage 2, we will probably see a little bit more of the craziness kind of spark back up.
I mean, and these guys are obviously racing for, I mean, at this point, you know, you want to say you're racing to win this thing, but it's still so early on in the race. So, you know, you really got to be smart at this point. It's fuel mileage, is just protecting the car. You got to make smart decisions. That's what you hope your driver's doing.
Yeah, that's something we really haven't talked a whole lot about tonight as well. Whenever we'll talk a lot more about it in stage 3. Sorry, excuse me. But 36 laps is the fuel window. Now that number is not concrete. You know, it depends on if you're in the draft, if you're leading the pack. If you're leading the pack, you're going to be using a whole lot more fuel, so that number could be lower. As we see, I do believe top line foreman once again. I do believe they have Shane Parrish with, I do believe, the Patrick Gitter right there behind him. Of course, Matt DeCiani. These guys are sticking together, and we know that Parrish, I do believe, does belong, I'm pretty sure, to that EPI team. And they're definitely making a run. Looks like, oh, someone coming up in front of the pack, and I do believe that is Darren Mullins. No, that is actually, is that Darren Mullins? I think that might be the 54 of Randy Mullins. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's Randy Mullins, yep. The 88 of Al Kozlowski back down pit road. I think he might have just ended it.
And with that, Shane Parrish, I do believe, does take the lead, but not for long, though. Here comes Scott Naslin back to the point.
And now we're definitely getting that side-by-side, that 2x2 racing that we were looking for. You see that top group there on the bottom side there, they're more of a group of three with Ryan Strunk trying to kind of bring it in. And then there were two tandems on the high side that are now become a pack of four.
Oh, Shane Parrish up into the outside wall. And it looks like Matt DeCiani going to try to see if he can't pick him up. So a little bit of a bad bump, I'd say, from Patrick Gitter. It looks like Gitter goes up in front of Parrish.
You got to sandwich him in order to get him back up and keep him kind of in the draft as well.
Yeah, definitely. That could have been a whole lot worse than it was.
That was a big wiggle.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to hit that wall here at Talladega when you're going over 200 mile an hour. Luckily, I think it's only cosmetic. I don't see a whole lot of damage on the side of that 66. But, of course, Scott Nasley is your leader. 35 laps into this race. Of course, stage 2 ends on 53 going to 54. And after that, that's when the real race begins. So I think a lot of drivers trying to make it to that point. Now, we only have 14 drivers that are in this lead pack at the moment. I think we're actually starting to split it up even more than that. I think Matt DeCiani and those guys might be losing the draft.
Yeah, but you know what, though? That might be their key to winning the race, because I do believe we're going to have another little bit of an issue like we had there at the end of stage 1. You know, unfortunately, that's the kind of thing, those are the kind of things that happen when you're actually at a track like Talladega. So there's still a lot of racing left to go here. Only on lap 36 of 118.
Yeah, definitely a long, long race. And, you know, of course, you see we do have another separate pack here. 15th on back, J.C. Evans, Corey Saucier, Mark Sanchez, I do believe, Alexander Carr, and Blair Holloman all right here. This is a 5-car group. So they're at least working together. You do see that Mark Sanchez does have some front-end damage, but it looks like it's not affecting him too bad. Now, one thing about a track like this is so aero-dependent. When you get out front, like if Mark Sanchez was to lead this group, it would slow down this group, considering.
Yeah, it's always about placement of the cars within the pack, because, I mean, and then some cars, Brian, you just ultimately, there's nothing you can do. They're just taking on so much water, you know, it'll slow the group down too much to stay with them. So
that's unfortunate. The survival of the fittest here at Talladega.
There's levels to this, definitely. It's not just get out there and roll. It's almost like taking a cross-country trip on the interstate, man. You know, you don't want to race with everybody, because some people just are going to attract the cops. So you let them just go up there. and in this case, they're going to be the ones that cause the caution. So you just let them get as far away from you as possible.
100%. I got a little bit of a driver drop down here just to show the speeds that these guys are hitting. Almost 200 mile an hour on these straightaways. Of course, I've even seen in some of the A Opens upwards of 206, 210. So these cars are not lacking in pace, that is for sure. So definitely some fast laps these guys are turning right now. Fastest lap so far from Scott Naslin has been a 48.185. That is incredibly quick.
Yeah, and then you look and you got guys that are running that fast, but then you got guys out there that are running almost 52 seconds a lap. So, I mean, there's a lot going on around this racetrack, and unfortunately, I wish I could say that we could count anybody out, but Brian, we just can't do that.
Take a nice look through the cockpit camera here at Chris Johnson as he's hitting upwards of almost 200 mile an hour. Of course, he's in 5th gear. Now, I know that some of the drivers that are a little bit by themselves, you want to run in 4th gear. When you're in this group, in this draft, you want to be in 5th gear. So there could be somewhat some shifting that could go on as well. You see just how wiggly these guys in front of him are, and visibility also low. I want to take a little bit of a look, a little bit further back in the group. You watch who, like like Ryan Strunk. He can barely see that yellow line there, Big Al, and that's a huge thing. Look at all the wiggles that these guys are having right now as he follows behind Chris Johnson. It's so important that you try to follow that guy in front of you, but when he's moving all over the place, that makes that incredibly difficult.
Yeah, you gotta. I mean, yeah, you can't follow a moving target. It's hard to do, because you're gonna try to figure out. And number one, if the guy is unstable like that, you don't really want to kind of get into him.
And you can see just how, I mean, a lot of people think that Talladega, a track like this, is you're just mashing the gas pedal. You're not doing anything but just mashing the gas pedal. But when you're following behind like Ryan Strunk is, he's having to lift through these corners to stay off of the back end of that Ford Mustang in front of him. And if he gets into him too hard into the corner, he's going to spin it.
You get sucked right in. That's that draft effect. Kenny Powell now shooting his shot rather. He is leading this thing. He's still going to elect to stay out in that middle lane, Brian, which is kind of awesome. Loving to see these guys make that high line work.
Yeah, and they got pretty much a G&G group right there. I mean, you got Brandon Poncelacqua, Brian Johnson, and Josh Schaffner all right there in a line. They are definitely working very well together. Now, think about this, though, Big Al. The majority of wins that Kenny Powell has in the ISCA series come at plate tracks. So I expect he might be a strong contender here tonight.
So you're saying that Kenny is not a complex racer?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I think he definitely shines at other tracks, but he doesn't usually show as much race-winning pace at those other tracks. He's a top 5, I'd say, at even a short track or something like that. But I'm saying that this is where he, I think, shines.
Okay. Well, he is a past champion, so
he definitely is.
I have to get clarification.
And he's consistent.
When we're talking about champions, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
and we're just talking about drivers and commentators. That's one thing. But when we're talking about champions, that's something totally different.
Well, at every other track, that we go to in the ISCA schedule, he's very consistent, and I think that's what puts him in the position to get those championships.
And you can see that even with his standing in the points right here for the 2 seasons. He is definitely consistent. And right now, that bottom line, though, getting a little bit more organized for the first time there a while. We have more cars in the bottom line than we did on the top line. Now I think it's dead even.
Yeah, of course, at the moment, I do believe only 11 drivers remain on this lead pack. Next driver, I do believe, is Shane Parrish, who's about a little over 10 seconds behind this group.
And, man, that tells you that we're at 50% of what we started with that are still running in this lead pack. So that, and we're at lap 43 of 118. That gives you an idea of the attrition levels. And I love the fact that the damage model comes into this, Brian, because, cars that are damaged should not run as fast as cars that aren't.
Yeah, I think damage does have a lot to do with it, and I think it also just puts on display how easy it is to lose the draft. I mean, I kind of talked about that a little bit before. If you get even a half a second is all it takes. If you get over a half a second behind that lead pack, you're not going to catch back up, and that can be such a scary thing. Just considering, I think at other plate races at Daytona that we were at a little bit ago, I kind of likened it to almost being an astronaut that's sitting on the International Space Station and you lose your tether and start to drift away.
Who are we?
I do see some guys that are getting ready to possibly go a lap down. I think Derek Jacobs is in that group. I think a group of 3, are right there that are getting ready to make this a little bit more complicated, Big Al.
Oh, yeah, and it's going to get a lot more complex as this thing rolls on, man. I'm just sitting here watching, and I'm loving everything that we're seeing because strategies are going to develop here tonight. That's one thing you definitely can attest to. Now, we're 45 laps here crossing the line. That means we're almost getting to the end of stage 2. I mean, we're under 10 laps away from putting stage 2 in the books. So this is about the time where I think it's going to start to get a little racy.
Now look at this camera angle, Big Al. It shows clearly how much the banking is on this track is. I mean, you can't walk up the side of this turn without burning some calories on them legs. I mean, look at that. Look at the dramatic change from this camera here. You can just clearly see that the banking here is so significant.
Man, side-by-side racing continues up to the front. These guys are racing like there's 2 to go in the stage.
They're getting close here. I do believe they got a little bit over, 8 laps to go here. Scott Naslin, though, has been the dominator here in stage 2 so far. But exactly. Is he going to be the dominator at the end of the stage?
Here they come up on lap traffic, and they're coming up on a trio And this is going to be interesting because the trio, they should go high, and that's what they're doing. They're going to get as high as they possibly can. But we're still going to be 3 wide racing for a while here once they come up, and it's going to also matter about where they catch these guys.
100%. These guys are definitely, they're going to have to condense these two groups. Top line's going to have to kind of go down and condense a little bit. You see Kenny Powell tries to get a sniff of that draft off the back of the 54, but it looks like they do go to the middle groove and are going to be able to successfully, hopefully, navigate around. You see Greg Wychinski is in this group along with Derek Jacobs.
He did utilize that draft very efficiently. Good kudos on Powell there. Actually utilizing the draft of the lap cars to kind of pull him up to give him a little bit of an advantage.
Yeah, I like it, and he did it flawlessly, too. I mean, he waited until the last possible second in order to drop down into the middle groove. And it looks like the rest of these drivers are going to see if they can't tag on to the end of this pack.
Because I don't think these cars are damaged here. I don't think, like the 54, I think he just stepped away. Randy, I don't think Randy actually had any damage.
That's definitely interesting to note. And it's surprising that Greg Wychinski's looking as fast as he is at the moment, just considering the heavy contact that he had a little bit ago.
I'm surprised that Randy's falling back so fast. Just not even able to keep up with that lead pack.
Just truly shows you how easy it is to lose the draft. I mean,
Derek Jacobs doing everything he can. Looks like he's going to actually come up. No, it goes to show you just how fast some guys are. I mean, that's the more accurate statement.
But just shocked to see that Greg Wychinski, after that huge hit on the wall, is still in this. Like, he's still, able to keep pace with this draft. Just shows you how good that crew he's got is at keeping that car in working order. They are coming up on another lap car, which is Corey Saucier.
Now, remember, though, too, one thing that worked out in Wychinski's favor is his contact. It seemed like he actually made more contact with the rear of his car and slid down the wall. I mean, that's if I'm, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think you could be onto something there for sure. As they do get by Corey Saucier here. A little bit of a wiggle there for Chris Johnson. Johnson blinks.
Ooh, not a good place to blink.
No, not at all.
Big ripples in the field.
And that has really secured that top line. As Kenny Powell trying to go for possibly a stage win, as we're going to have 4 laps to go here.
Still a little bit early to be counting chickens, though.
That's right. Bottom line could still make something happen. You're seeing a little bit of hints as well of maybe Brian Johnson thinking about dropping down to the bottom. Oh, it looks like Patrick Gitter decides to go up top. He's going to try to hang out Josh Schaffner. But I think Schaffner is in the draft and he has teammates, so this might be a bad call for Gitter.
Ooh. And he just slips back into the stream. Jose going to be coming up on the high side there, trying to make it 3 wide. Got a little bit of help coming there, Saucier, I do believe. Oh, that's Gitter actually coming up on the back end there to give Jose a bump.
Yeah, luckily Jose did have a little bit of somebody to help here as we're now 3 wide. Josh Schaffner in the middle. Whoa! Wow, Jose almost turned the 50 there.
Ooh-wee.
This is getting crazy.
Oh, it's not yet begun to get crazy. We're 2 to go in the stage. It's going to get a whole lot crazy before this thing's over. And, Brian, I think we got a probability of tearing up some more cars before it's done also.
And look at the run these guys are getting up on the top. Jose Acosta getting some huge bumps from the 21 or the 28, I should say, of Patrick Gitter.
Gitter's getting her done out there.
He is. He definitely is. And, of course, he even mentioned it that he won the strength of field at the beginning of the week. And, what that means, ladies and gentlemen.
And Gitter leaves Jose down low by himself, stays in the middle by himself. Powell goes up high. Sorry to cut you off. To make it 3 wide for the lead, Brian. But Gitter still by himself, waiting and looking for some help, praying for help, not getting any at all.
Yeah, not at all. He's going to have to hope that Josh Schaffner helps him out. But Schaffner ditches him as well.
Wow.
And there goes Scott Naslin to the middle groove. He's got Heath Snyder with him.
Prom night.
Yeah, he did not have a date. He had a date before, but then the date left him hanging.
Wow, this thing's getting ready to get interesting. Is right now I think we're going to be white flag, or two to go here in the stage.
No, white flag, yeah, is out
White
from
flag.
this stage. Yep.
And this is when it's just going to get interesting right here.
Yeah, Kenny Powell definitely going to have to hope that Scott Naslin doesn't make a run, but it looks like they are. Look at that big, huge bumps from Heath Snyder. Snyder is pushing the absolute crap out of the 22 right now, trying to get him up there.
And is that the 99 of Brian Johnson that's there in the low line?
That's Chris Johnson, yeah.
That's Chris Johnson actually assisting the movement against his G&G teammate up high. Josh Schaffner, oh no, that's Jose Acosta coming up around the corner 3 wide.
Yeah, that's with Patrick Gitter again. Oh, and there goes Brandon Pasalacqua. He jumps up. Oh, and then Jose Acosta bounces off the wall as they're getting ready to cross the line. This is going to end stage 2. Caution is out, 4 wide finish.
And they're still not done yet.
That was a 4 wide finish.
They still have a probability. They have to count it down here. Scott Naslin, your stage 2 winner. Heath Snyder comes in second. Chris D. Johnson in third. Brandon Pasalacqua fourth. Brian Johnson in fifth. Kenny Powell sixth. Jose Acosta seventh. Josh Schaffner eighth. Patrick Gitter all the way back to ninth. And Paul Osen rounds out that top 10. With that top 10 done, stage 2 in the books. Let's step away and get a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back with whoever Brian tells me I can talk to.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms. From camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgot.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I'm so tough, bro. We get a hug. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
It's gonna get hot today. Grab an ice cold sun drop and show us how you drop it.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Cause I got it going on. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
A thirst-quenching citrus soda just dropped coast to coast. Sun drop.
That's how you drop it. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, Big Al is standing by with whoever he has decided to talk to. Big Al, you got the floor.
Hey, Scott Naslin, Big Al up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, Big Al. How's it going?
Hey, good, man. Congratulations on really digging it out for that stage 2 win.
Yeah, it was a lot of teamwork. Everybody was trying to get past us. I pretty much owe everything to Heath.
Oh, yeah? Why is that, boss?
He's glued to my bumper, and that's how we're able to stay out front right now.
Yeah, so speaking of that, how is the racing down there at Talladega this evening?
It's been pretty clean. We had some really good racing there towards the last 15 laps. So, and everybody's clean. It's competitive, and it's been a lot of fun. We've gotten some pretty cool runs in stage 1. That was a real blast.
I tell you what, it's looking like it's a blast from where we're sitting at up here, man. Going into stage 3, understanding that this is going to be that long stage, there's a fuel stop right there. So what's you guys' strategy on that? Are you going to kind of be up front to dictate, or are you kind of going to be in the middle to wait, or you just kind of going to like see how it unfolds?
I think we're going to try to stay out front as much as possible. That's the best place to be, in my opinion.
Oh, Roger that. Good deal. Well, I tell you what, man, I'm going to let you get ready to get back to it, as you guys are going to be soon going to 1 to go. Congratulations again for your stage 2 finish. But before we do let you go, man, who you shouting out down there tonight?
Don Wheaton Chevrolet, GM, GMC, Buick Cadillac, Abruzzi Racewear, and Hyperforce Esports.
Roger that, sir. Good luck to you for the remainder of the event, and hopefully we'll talk to you at the end of this thing.
All right, 10-4.
Alrighty, that was Scott Naslin, our Stage 2 winner. So we have had 2 different Stage 2 winners, Big Al. I think that maybe we'll have a different overall winner, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. Because the one thing you can count on is it's going to get really, really sporty here, Brian, in about some, maybe, I don't know, 43 laps or so.
Yeah,
53
especially
laps or so.
what's going to add such a huge layer is those green flag pit stops. I mean, the stops we've seen thus far have been yellow flag stops. Well, Talladega, it's not too incredibly difficult to pit at this racetrack, but one thing that does ramps it up to 11 is that a lot of times when you pit here, you're pitting side by side. This place is, a lot of times these guys are communicating. They're talking to one another. They're in separate Discord channels. They're talking over the radio, Big Al, and they're saying, hey, I'm going to pit to the left. I'm pitting to the right. You know what I mean? Like, it is, a lot of times that can be just as hectic as the racing on the racetrack. And a lot of these guys, if they're not on the same page, whether I'm taking 2 tires, I'm taking a full tank of gas, I'm taking this, I'm taking that, you have to be on the same page. Just stay together. You got to stay together.
Because that is yet another issue there. That's another pole in the tent, if you will. I mean, how many tires are they taking on the stop?
I would assume that if everybody's probably going to take a full tank of fuel when they do end up pitting on pit road. So that means I would say 4 tires, just because it takes as long to fuel the car up that it does to take tires.
Yeah, you would hope. One would hope.
But, I mean, 2 tires is an option. I mean, 2 tires is not a bad call at all. A lot of other tracks we say take 2 tires. That's not a good idea. But Talladega, you can successfully pull that off and it work out for you. You not have any sort of penalties for it.
Yeah.
But here we go. Looks like we're going to be entering that green flag Geico restart zone. There it is. Green flag is out. Heath Snyder wasting no time to get up through the gears. He's going to allow his teammate Scott Naslin to see if he can't get up to his rear end. Of course, Brandon Pasalacqua going to see if he can't take advantage.
Yeah, lots of discourse throughout the field. I mean, not everybody was just ready to go there, rare and jumping at the bit once the green flag came. Seems like a lot of guys are still kind of waking up.
Yeah, I think they were kind of sleeping there. We do see the brothers Johnson kind of working together, the 99 and the 4.
Yeah, Brandon Pasalacqua now, he is going to take the lead. Kenny Powell pushing him all the way, and Jose Acosta now showing himself strong in 3rd place.
Yeah, Jose has definitely had a great run here tonight. I know he's had his fair share of bad luck the last few races, but then again, I mean, he's had his fair share of good luck. I mean, I think he's gotten a podium position in the last race we called for him, if I'm not mistaken. So definitely going to be looking to see what he can pull out here in that John Deere machine. Hopefully that car don't handle like a John Deere, because I don't think you want to drive a tractor around Talladega.
Hey, nothing runs like a Deere there, Bubba.
I thought you were a big Ford man.
What's that got to do with John Deere?
I don't know. They don't make Ford tractors, I guess, huh?
They do make Ford tractors, yeah.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Absolutely.
Darren Mullins, though, he's in the competition right now. He's up there with, I do believe, Patrick Gitter up on the top, trying to make something happen. But for the most part, I do believe the top 6 or so have single filed out. A lot of these guys are kind of separating a lot more than I expected. I think that they're just really wanting to take it easy.
Absolutely. Everybody, and this is that time. We're halfway through this thing. So this is definitely the time of the race where you're just going to kind of sit back, let our strategies kind of come to fruition, and let's just figure this thing out from a few perspective in where we need to be in order to win this thing. And on an interesting note, Brian, Ford does make a tractor, but it does not make a hearse, however.
Oh, that's interesting to note. I mean, we might need
know
a hearse
why?
after this race.
You know why Ford doesn't make a hearse?
Why is that?
Well, because see, a Chevy and a GMC, they'll take you and leave you, but a Ford, it's gonna take you and bring you back.
I don't know, Big Al. I always heard Ford's found on road dead.
First on race day.
That's right. We do have Kenny Powell's cockpit camera here on the screen right now, kind of showing it looks like he's wearing a referee's jersey.
He might actually employ that thing here at the end of this before.
He's definitely going to have to.
58 laps ago, who knows? At Talladega, that's a lifetime of relationships right there in itself. As Ryan Strunk gets a little bit touchy-feely with Derek Jacobs. That's going to cause, I believe, Matt DeCiani to kind of slide by those guys on the high side. I hadn't really been talking a lot about DeCiani here thus far. Not sure what's going on with that camp.
Yeah, we haven't really talked a whole lot about Matt DeCiani here. Of course, he did lose the draft a bit earlier, trying to stay with his teammate Scott I believe Shane Parrish, I should say. We also have on the screen the 6 of Brandon Pasalacqua, who's our leader at the moment. Of course, top line is starting to surge ahead as we see Patrick Gitter working with Darren Mullins. Of course, right behind him is Ryan Strunk. Ryan Strunk, another one we haven't really had a lot of time to talk about, but he has been very successful here as of late. I know he had a really good week at Martinsville last week.
Yeah, he has definitely got the horns on the bull here, and he has given everybody the battering end of that 77. So I don't think we're going to be done talking about him, because I got a strong feeling that whoever wins this thing might actually be being pushed by the 77.
Yeah, 100%. He's definitely one that always is very, very aggressive and makes things happen. As we look on through the cockpit camera here of Ryan Strunk as he follows behind Darren Mullen. I love these views here. You can see all these cars. Man, Talladega, there's nothing else like it. It's like a way of life out here.
Man.
Look at that, Ryan Strunk switching lanes, drops down right behind Pete Snyder. And this is some of the most chaotic racing, on the service, and it's really anxiety-inducing in my opinion. Like it just, your heart rate is so high when you're in this group, and they're all going so fast. I mean, 200 mile an hour. We're seeing a little bit of a breakaway though. The top 4 are starting to pull away from the rest of the group. Of course, that is where the side-by-side starts. Now, a lot of people have talked about that this, a little bit almost contact there between Naslin, I do believe, and Gitter. Luckily, they did not touch, but they almost did.
They didn't touch that time. It's coming.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we know Patrick Gitter all race long has been using he's been wildly successful at using the side draft. Also, you see Derek Jacobs in the mix there. He is a lap down, I do believe.
Yeah, but he's still right there, and I'm happy to see that he is actually showing the speed that it's going to take in order to stay there on that lead lap, Brian. Because, like I said, not sure why he lost the draft, but when it did come back his way, he was actually able to latch on and keep up. Same thing with Greg Wachinski. Wachinski now finds himself out there by himself again, but it's just good to see that they're still out there actually running.
Yeah, Greg Wachinski's all by himself in that Farmers Insurance machine. Hate to see that for him, but, it is what it is. Sometimes that's the way it kind of goes. A lot of wiggling there for Kenny Powell. He kind of moved up and down the track trying to follow in the tire tracks of Brandon Pasalacqua. That has allowed, I do believe, the top line to start to surge a little bit. But no, Derek Jacobs is having a lot of speed. right now. I definitely think that he has what it takes, and the thing about it is we're going to see another wreck. I have no doubts about it that we're going to see a lot of other cars get tore up, and that could be the opportunity for him to get back on the lead lap and maybe even get him a successful finish, but hopefully he's not in it. That's the thing about it. He is in a kind of a little bit of a danger zone being the third car on that top line. And one thing I haven't talked about too, Big Al, sorry to cut you off, is when you're on the top line, there is no escape. When you're on the bottom, you have an apron down there that you can shoot down to the apron and miss a lot of wrecks. When you're on the top, there is no option.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're on that top, the only comfort you have is that of the wall.
And the wall is not a comforting thing.
Yeah, concrete walls they're not known for their softness and tenderness.
No, not at all. I mean, I'd rather hit another car than that wall. That wall is a cold entity, that's for sure. Does not show love when you hit it.
It is incapable of loving you back.
If by loving you, you mean taking pieces of your car with it, yes. That's what I've been loving about this new damage model as well. We've been really seeing that play out a lot, even at Martinsville last week. That this new damage model, these cars used to be a lot tougher, where you would hit that wall and the car would look fine. You hit it now, you hit it or hit another car or hit that wall at a certain speed, it's going to take pieces off of that race car, and it'll distribute them on the racetrack. I love that new damage model. I know these drivers out here probably don't, but it is a lot more realistic, I think. I mean, because we saw last week, I think, with Greg Wachinski, he hit the barrels, and it took the front end completely off the race car.
Yeah, they were still sitting there. I mean, I think we should start sending them a bill to clean this crap up,
Yeah.
But, you want it to be as realistic as possible. And I mean, that's the whole purpose of the sim. You want the simulation to be, a one-to-one or as close to a one-to-one as you can of the real thing.
Big move there for Heath Snyder and Scott Naslin. They are acting like they're of one mind right now. They jumped right up in front of Patrick Gitter, and they're definitely going to be able to benefit from it. Top line starting to really move forward now. They are running down Brandon Pasolaco. I think, they're going to be side by side here on the front stretch. And there it is, battling for the lead. It's going to be a drag race to the start-finish line for lap 69. And I think, Naslin is going to lead that lap. Some big wiggles going on from Jose Acosta.
Jose kind of got into the back of Kenny, kind of got off of it a little bit, and that caused an accordion effect through the rest of the field. Greg Wachinski now coming up into the fray. Wrong time of the day.
Yeah, definitely. And Patrick Gitter looks like he's going to get up to the lead now.
Yeah, Gitter definitely taking advantage of that situation. A lot of chaos going on right there. If you look, these guys are racing as hard now as they even were going up in the 10 laps ago in the last stage. Right now, we're 50 laps to go into the end of this thing.
Yeah, I mean, and look at that, 14 laps already into this run. So I do believe in about 20 or so laps, that's when we're going to see those green flag pit stops start to come into fruition. And, of course, we haven't talked a whole lot about Matt DeCiani. Well, DeCiani is now up into third place, battling, I do believe, for the second position.
Congratulations, he's in second now.
And J.C. Evans is our leader. Look at that. First time tonight, J.C. Evans in the lead.
I think that's one of the first times we've seen the 9 of J.C. Evans in the lead here in the ISCA, isn't it?
It's close to it. It's very close to it. I think he's led laps before, but it is definitely, you can't count a whole lot of them, that's for sure.
Well, if he hasn't, congratulations, J.C. Evans. This Miller's for you.
100%. And, definitely a great driver, J.C. Evans. He's always sticking with it.
I did mess that up. This sun drops for you, JC.
Yeah, he's looking really good right now. And I know I think we had a chance to talk to J.C. Evans not too long ago. And it looks like he's going to get hung out to dry by Matt DeCiani, who's going to try to take the lead with the help of Gitter. And Derek Jacobs giving some bumps to the 28 there.
Gitter got her done. He just shoved right in behind the one, pushing him out to the front. Man, Jose now on that high line as well. So that's a 5-car split on JC. These guys are going to see. We're going to see if they're going to blend in.
Oh, Darren Mullins getting hung out.
JC has definitely been left for dead here, Brian.
Yeah, also Darren Mullins. So it looks like the rest of the drivers decided just not to work with him, treating him like he's got leprosy right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we apologize to anyone that we may have offended by my co-commentator's remarks.
Hopefully these guys don't lose the draft.
Oh, man, Kenny Powell back there playing a little shove and push there with Brandon Pasalaco and Chris Johnson.
Giving the tush push.
A lot of things going on here, man. This track is just kind of, she's dealing more cards.
She definitely is. Talladega, one of the craziest tracks on the circuit for sure. And a lot of people have said that this place is cursed. When they were building Talladega, a lot of the construction workers died, actually.
Was it? I mean, what did they find? They found some Indian artifacts?
They actually said that Talladega was buried or was built on top of an Indian burial ground. That's some of the rumors. I'm not sure of the validity of that. But interesting to note, though. Yeah, this place apparently is somewhat cursed.
Well, I mean, let's just. Well, we can talk just for a little bit, but you got 2.66 miles of asphalt. You know what I mean? I've been at a race at Talladega and looked over on the interstate, and it's been pouring down raining on the interstate, but yet the race is still going on. So, I mean, it could be blessed.
Yeah, it could very well be blessed by the racing gods, if you will. I mean, and
I'll say this. This is what I'll say about that. Imagine how different our lives would be if it never would have come to fruition.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. And I love that point though. You're just you're talking about how it could be raining on the interstate, and it won't be raining on the racetrack. Oh, Derek Jacobs giving a heck of a bump there to the 28 of Patrick Gitter, almost turns him. Luckily, that was not the case, as it looks like Patrick Gitter and DeCiani trying to stick together. They move up to the middle groove.
Ooh-wee. A lot of racing right there, getting ready to be 3 wide almost. Oh, potentially verging on 4 wide there it could have been. A lot of things going on. If you look at this, everybody's rolling in the center.
Yeah, and that's one thing that you kind of see a lot at Talladega and Daytona, to where the top groove is the faster groove when everybody is running up there. You're able to just get so much more speed, but it looks like Naslin not of that mind. He wants to go to the top, and he's got Heath Snyder going to try to go with him there. Those guys taking the middle. They're like, okay, you're leaving a lane for us. We're going to go to the top. What a race this has been. 75 laps in the books. We appreciate everybody out there tuning in to ISCA here on Thursday nights. If you like what you see, make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Twitch. Follow us on Twitter. Of course, you can like our page on the ISCA Facebook. And look at the run that Scott Naslin's making. Patrick Gitter jumps up last second, almost causes a stack up.
It's not over yet, Brian. Still a lot of letters left to mail on this one.
Oh, I think Patrick Gitter's getting ready to get some hate mail. I mean, that was a last-second move.
I mean, but I trust this guy. I mean, I've been watching him race this race here tonight, and I'm definitely going to say that he is definitely my choice for the guy that could get her done. So, I mean, I don't see him making any moves out here tonight that are going to be egregious, or even arguable at the end of this thing. I think they've all been clean thus far.
They have, but, of course, when you rub guys the wrong way in the middle of the race, when it comes down to the end of the race, they're going to be a whole lot more willing to hang you out. As here comes Scott Naslin to the bottom of the racetrack with Heath Snyder with him. And look at the move from Ryan Strunk, drops down in front of Derek Jacobs. Ryan Strunk desperately trying to get himself a good finish here. He's up to now 3rd place.
Yep, 42 laps to go in this thing. Still some 6 laps to go before we're in that fuel window. it's going to be interesting to see how many drivers are going to be coming in just at the beginning of that window, Brian, because the way I would look at this is this is one of those cases where the lighter the car is, the faster it's going to be.
Yeah, I think you're right about that for sure. And also, the lighter the car is, the easier it probably will get to get loose on you as well. Of course, these cars do have, I do believe, rear-placed fuel tanks, which when they get lighter, that means the rear end gets lighter, and a lot of times that can lead to a loose condition. And there goes Shane Parrish trying to make something happen on the top. I don't believe he has any help.
I think you're going to want it to be as fast as possible once you get down to the end of this thing.
Looks like Shane Parrish is going to get picked up by Matt DeCiani. Of course, Patrick Gitter right there behind him. Scott Naslin's back up in the lead, and Naslin has led quite a few laps here tonight. I think he's led almost the most, I do believe. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Scott Naslin has won a race here recently, so this could be his second trip to victory lane.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. He is a previous winner here. And Scott Naslin is, he's already won a stage tonight, so he's definitely looking to having a pretty good points evening.
Definitely is, but I would not be surprised to see someone else maybe get up there as well. Still a long, long, long way to go. I mean, 40-something laps here at Talladega. It's not a stone's throw. This is the biggest track on the circuit. We talk about that. It takes these guys 50 or so seconds, give or take, to get around this place. And they're going 200 mile an hour, so that just shows you how big this track is, Big Al.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
25 laps into the run, so I do believe in about 10 laps, they're going to definitely have to come down pit road. Now, I mentioned it before, Scott Naslin, he is leading this group. He is burning the most fuel out of everybody right now. Of course, Shane Parrish is also burning quite a bit of fuel, leading that top line by himself. There are with, or should I say, leading the top line with DeCiani and Gitter. But what a race we have had thus far. If you like what you see, ISCA is always recruiting new talent. We love to see new guys come out here.
I'm with the 10. Sorry about that. This is going to be an issue.
Oh, here. Big problem smoking here from the 10 of Blair Holloman.
Yeah, he was off the track, but it didn't look like he was off the track there at first.
This could have easily caused a caution. Of course, he was being pushed, I do believe, by Corey Saucier. Just a bad bump gone wrong and sent into the outside wall. How did this not bring a caution out?
And then when you started talking, and that's when I said, whoa, what's going on with the 10? Yeah, very not good for him.
And watch it back here from the far chase camera. As you see Saucier just catches his right rear.
Well, I mean, I don't even know what to say. Looking at that replay, if I would have just got here tonight and you showed me that replay, I mean, I'm kind of like, yo, what did he do to that guy to make him, like, it looks like this guy was, like, intentionally trying to wreck him.
I don't think he was, but then again, I mean, it definitely does not look very good. But, it's so easy to do things like that. And I think Blair Holloman's car is kaput. You did hear that signifying, sounds like the engine has gone.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He's no longer smoking. I mean, he's smoking, but the car isn't.
And he is going to come to a stop there on the apron. Is he? I don't think he's going to be able to make it. He's going to make it to pit road, but not his box. Unfortunate there for Blair Holloman. We do have now, I do believe, a 6-car breakaway here. Top 6.
And we're in that refuel window.
Now, of course, looking at this top 6, they are actually not the top 6 positions. The top 5 positions are in this group. Derek Jacobs is one of them who is a lap down.
Yeah, and he is stuck in the right there behind Ryan Strunk. And he's not wanting anybody to say anything about him being a lap down because, next time a caution comes out, if he's not involved, Brian, he could get that lucky dog and find himself right back up on the lead lap. Now, I think it'll just be a matter of time before green flag stops do start, because right now these guys are in that pit window.
Yeah, we've seen quite the separation of the groups here. Of course, Kenny Powell, 9th place. He has, I do believe, 5 or 6 cars with him, and he is about 5 seconds back from the leaders right now.
So when are you coming in? Are you staying out until there's, are you going to try to get a full tank of gas out of this thing? Or are you coming in now where you don't have to spend as much time trying to put gas in this thing to get back out there?
That's a good point. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think that I want to guarantee that I have enough fuel to make it. Of course, I think so. I think that means that maybe another 5 laps might be when I would think to come down.
So you're talking green, white, checker, make it.
Yeah, I want to be able to make it to the end and know that I'll make it to the end. So yeah, I think I'll run the tank out and fill it up fully.
Oop. Green flag pit stops have commenced. Pit road is busy, 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 busy.
Of course, you see Kenny Powell, Chris Johnson, Brian Johnson, Brandon Passalacqua all coming down pit road.
Yeah, and I think they're going with it under the second, and that is we got enough for the green white checker. Let's get in now where we don't have to spend as much time down pit road putting fuel in this thing to get to the end of it.
Looks like Chris Johnson wins that race off of pit road, but Kenny Powell gets a good run off the exit, so he is going to slide up in front of Chris Johnson. Looks like all of them had a successful stop. They did not separate too much here.
Now they got to get back out there, get back up to operating speed, and for these guys, they're going to be good. They're just hoping that nobody bites it getting down pit road right now.
Yeah, because if anybody has a mistake on the track and causes a caution, that would put them, I do believe, possibly a lap down, because you see Scott Naslin and these guys are coming up on them quite quickly.
Yeah, this is going to be disastrous because those guys totally broke up on their pit sequence. Plus, you got Chris Johnson blinking a little bit. So you got Josh Offerers way back at the end of this thing. I don't think he's going to be able to catch up.
Yeah, he's out. He is definitely in a danger zone right now to be able to actually catch up. Brandon Passalacqua could be in a danger zone as well. If I was him, I would jump to the top.
Jump high. Yeah, absolutely.
And then get in their draft to see if, yeah.
Paul Olsen's, he's bopped it. He's no longer going to be there. The 28 and the 42 now down on pit road. Yeah, they got problems right there. They got to figure out a way to get the band back together.
I'm just not sure why Passalacqua's not jumping up to the top to see if he can't get the draft to catch up. I think he might be okay. I think he's starting to catch up to that top line. I think he might just have a hair of the draft here.
Yeah, no, now you got those guys that they're kind of pushing these guys on the high side. What if those guys are wanting to pit here pretty soon? It's really, they're going to have to dominate to get down to the bottom line so they can actually facilitate that. But those G&G guys have no
problems. There goes Heath Snyder around.
Man, what was that? Caution is definitely going to come out, and they're still wrecking on that one. Now, he is definitely not going to be receiving any kind of, no cards, no Christmas cards, no Thanksgiving cards. He's not getting a Valentine's Day card. He's off the mailing list.
He definitely is.
And I was just saying that in order for them to make this work, they don't have to give up that bottom row. But it looks like he was just trying to get down there and get a little bit of it. And
Kenny Powell was just going way faster than him, and just there's nothing really Powell could have done in that whole scenario. And unfortunately, the 9 of, I do believe, J.C. Evans also
Well, J.C. Evans he is the only recipient of a meatball flag from that contact. Now
this is a separate incident as well. I think J.C. Evans got into contact with Brian Johnson after the fact.
Right. Now look at that car.
Yeah, I think he broke his toe link for sure. You see that? Look at the little contact there with Brian Johnson sent him down into Kenny Powell. Yeah, so Brian Johnson kind of got up into the 9, and that sent the 9 down into the 24. And that is going to be, I do believe, our second caution based on an incident. You could tell that, yeah, look at this. J.C. Evans, that car is not, it is broken.
And, Kenny Powell, this doesn't work out for him because he's going to want to come down and get his damage fixed, but yet he's still going to have to kind of stay out to kind of stay on the lap.
Yeah, he's got to stay out in order to get his lap back, which you know who the lucky dog is, Derek Jacobs.
And that's exactly what Jacobs needed to happen. I mean, none of those G&G guys needed this caution to come out. I'll just say that. I think that goes without even saying.
Yeah, this is definitely not the thing these guys wanted to happen.
Yeah, but it plays well into the hands of those guys that were on the lead lap, the leaders right there.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is definitely going to change things quite a bit. Very interesting to see what the results of this is going to be. And of course, Heath Snyder was involved in that accident. I'm wondering what the damage looks like for him. Of course, he is on pit road, probably receiving some repairs and taking tires and fuel. So we'll have to wait and see what the... I don't think he hit too hard. It just depends on if he hit the inside wall after being spun down.
Evans has got his damage repaired, so nobody is suffering from damage received under that last caution.
What an accident that was. I mean, it can happen at any moment at Talladega. But with that, let's take a brief step away, Big Al. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's rest our voices.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms. From camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I'm so tough, bro. We get a hug, man. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
It's gonna get hot today. Grab an ice cold sun drop and show us how you drop it.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it. 'Cause I got it going on. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
A thirst-quenching citrus soda just dropped coast to coast. Sun Drop.
That's how you drop it. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. The pace car lights are out. We're getting ready to get them back going once again. Of course, we just saw an accident happen on the racetrack involving Kenny Powell, Heath Snyder, J.C. Evans. So definitely some drivers definitely going to be probably with a little bit of hurt feelings out there. But I do believe we have still some a good bit of drivers. I think 17 still on the lead lap. Ryan Strunk right now is leading us there. I should say 16 drivers on the lead lap. Ryan Strunk is at the top of the grid right now with Darren Mullen sitting in second. Scott Naslin's in third. Heath Snyder, who was involved in that accident, sits in fourth. Jose Acosta is in fifth. Patrick Gitter in sixth. Matt DeCiani in seventh, I do believe. Corey Saucier in eighth. J.C. Evans, who was involved in that as well, in 9th. Derek Jacobs got his lap back. He's now the 10th. Wondering how bad the damage is going to be for Kenny Powell, who sits in 11th at the moment.
Christy Johnson's going to be sitting in 12th with Brandon Pasalacqua in 13th. 14th is Brian Johnson. 15th shows Josh Schaffner. 16th, Paul Olsen. 17th, Greg Wachinski. 18th is going to be Shane Parrish. 19th, Randy Mullins. 20th, Mark Sanchez. Barry Holloman, Alexander Carr, and Mal Koslowski round out the 23-car field.
Here we go. Green flag soon to be waving here as Ryan Strunk's going to have the control of the field. And there we go. Green flag back out in the air. Ryan Strunk waiting a little bit to get going. Of course, that is kind of always something that happens here at Talladega. Scott Naslin jumps up to the top in front of Heath Snyder. Of course, those drivers have been working together all race long.
That was a very choreographed move right there. You don't usually just have that smoothness of a transition. Jose Acosta now pushing Ryan Strunk down the backstretch.
You know how it is when cautions always breed cautions. Looks like Darren Mullins does not want any part of whatever might break out here. He drops all the way to the back of the field. Bottom line, not very populated right now. Darren Mullins drops to the bottom, though, in front of Strunk.
And Jose still pushing the pusher, doing exactly what he needs to do. And I think Darren's just, that's just the way his day's been going. I think his car is just not running well enough to be up in it like that.
Well, he is the leader at the moment. Going to be leading a lap here.
I meant Randy.
Of course,
Randy.
Yeah, for sure. Scott Naslin. Yeah, that's how I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said Darren Mullins. I actually made a mistake myself. So that was Randy Mullins that dropped to the end. You're right. But, yeah, Darren Mullins is in the lead right now. He looks like he's looking really good. But top side, looks like they might be trying to take the lead. Scott Naslin and Heath Snyder working very well. Oh, here we go again. Bad. Here we go again.
Oh, might not be a caution. Looks like that's going to be a single car spin contained to the grass.
And that was, of course, Heath Snyder. And that looked a lot like that incident we just saw a little bit ago.
Yeah, man, he got the bull by the horns right there, Brian. Just unfortunate there for that car. I mean, if guys, yeah, I'm gonna be quiet.
Let's take another look back at that there because it looks a lot like that last accident where Scott Naslin came down and
he wasn't clear.
He just did. Yeah, I mean, he was clear for a second, but he waited. He seemed like he was apprehensive about going down in front. And when you're at a track like Talladega, you cannot wait to make a move. You have to do it then.
Especially as fast as everybody's running around this track. Now we're 3 wide. Kenny Powell pulling Chris D. Johnson up on the high side.
Derek Jacobs in the middle. He's right now scored in the 5th place position. He has Matt DeCiani right behind him.
Yeah, Derek Jacobs was a recipient of that lucky dog there on that last lap. Got his lap back, and now he is definitely making the most of it.
He definitely is. I mean, he is right there in contention for possibly the win, but you do see the top side, pretty much all G&G lined up, including Paul Olsen. You see a little bit of a blink there, I do believe, from Brian Johnson. So you could definitely see G&G is definitely trying to make something happen here as we're now 95 laps into this event.
And now they got Paul Olsen right there. They got the band back together, so to speak. So that 5-car, if you got a 4-car, it's a quart, it's a 5-car Cinco. That Cinco right there is going to be running together pretty good.
Yeah, 100%. Also see Greg Wachinski. He's one of the G&G drivers. He's 4 laps down in the midst of the pack as well. Ryan Strunk, though, has been leading a couple laps here thus far. Of course, he's followed right behind by Patrick Gitter. I think it's only a matter of time before they make a move. Of course, Corey Saucier, I think this is the first time he's been up in the top 3 all night.
Yeah, Kenny Powell is shoving the proverbial crap out of the 27. He is going to push Derek Jacobs. Whoa! There's Gitter jumping up there to try to block that run. Now he finds himself up high. 3 wide racing continues for the lead. That's going to put Derek Jacobs out front, Brian.
How about that? And what a move from Jacobs as well. He saw Gitter jump up in front of him. He was like, no. He went right underneath him and just right by him, and that was flawless.
Yeah. He had Kenny Powell talk about the tush push. That's tush push 2.0 right there.
I'm telling you, what a fantastic showing here from Derek Jacobs. Looks like Kenny Powell is going to leave him hanging out to dry. He is in the middle, essentially by himself right now. I was hoping Kenny was going to try to push Derek to his first win. I would have been ecstatic to see that, but Kenny Powell, of course, says, I want to win this race.
Kenny giveth, Kenny taketh away.
Oh, so a little bit of contact with the wall on that top line.
A lot of accordion effect going on there on that high line with 22 laps left to go in this thing. It'll be 21 at the stripe. Ladies and gentlemen, just hold on. This is going to happen 2 or 3 more times before the night is over. I guarantee you that.
Yeah,
this thing is going to get shuffled like card decks in Vegas.
Yeah, there is no predicting who is going to win this race at Talladega. Even though Ryan Strunk is right now in the lead, I mean, anything, you know, snap your fingers and things are going to be different. I mean, don't look away, ladies and gentlemen, because as soon as you do, you're going to see something. You're going to miss something.
Yeah, kudos to Ryan Strunk, though, for leading a couple of laps here tonight, taking his turn up at the helm. Hopefully he can be able to stay up there. But, you know, leading this thing at this juncture, that's not something that I necessarily need on my resume. I've already got it on there. I know how it ends. Not necessarily something I want.
Watching through the cockpit camera here on Matt DeCiani. It looks like he's having a little blink because I picked the wrong car. But look at this view he's gotten. Look at the run he's getting. Scott Naslin jumps up in front. Big bump in the tri-oval.
Tush push coming.
What a race this has been so far, ladies and gentlemen, as we see side by side for the lead. Naslin trying to take it back. He has been one of the dominating forces here so far tonight.
And isn't this just spectacular? I mean, this is the kind of racing you want to see when you're at Talladega, especially coming down the pipe with 20 to go. You want to see that high line dominant. Oh, no, leader Naslin gets really loose there. I mean, he was wobbling like he's wearing high heels.
He definitely was, as Patrick Gitter gets into the rear end of Kenny Powell, trying to get him back up to speed. I'm telling you, I pray, Big Al, that the NASCAR race on Sunday looks anything like this, because this has been a spectacular race.
I might just have to post up, throw a little something on the barbecue, man, and just kind of watch that Talladega race.
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely going to be spending some time with my cousin on Sunday. We've been making a tradition of getting together and watching the race, and I'll tell you, it's been fun. As Kenny Powell surges ahead to the lead with Patrick Gitter right behind him, Jose Acosta in tow, and Josh Schaffner, I do believe, makes it.
Play well. Josh Schaffner does get low. Sorry to cut you off there. Jose definitely finding. He opened up a different can there. Now that middle line, Paul Olsen also trying to figure out where to go.
Yeah, Paul Olsen kind of all by himself on the very, very top line. But I think this is the first time I've seen Josh Schaffner up in the top 3 so far tonight.
Yeah, Schaffner has a little bit of issues there up front, but I don't know early on if that was by design or call.
Well, you know him. He's always that driver that kind of takes it easy in the first goings and has always been one of those cautious types. But when it comes to the end of the race, where's Josh Schaffner towards the front?
Well, where's Jose Acosta right now? He's out front. Another driver who was kind of in the back, in the rear with the gear, if you will. Now he is actually pulling away.
Yeah, with Derek Jacobs and Darren Mullins. I mean, look at this. These 3-car tandem here. And there goes Derek Jacobs to the bottom. He's going to see if he can't lead him a lap here tonight. As Darren Mullins is going to give him a good push. He says Jose Acosta slides down behind Darren. These guys are doing a fantastic job here. And Derek Jacobs is going to lead a lap here tonight at Talladega.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a second one, though, if my memory serves me correctly. He was pushed by Powell for the first.
You're right. This is his second lap. Started 8th and is now currently in the first place position with, I do believe, coming up on 16 laps to go. I don't know if I want to lead the race at this point, though. I think I want to be but if they can separate from the rest of the pack, then I would probably want to be in the lead at this point, because I think that's the main goal right now, separate.
I hear that trainer coming. Is rolling around the bend. That's exactly what's happening to him right now.
Yeah, he is definitely. I think Darren Mullins probably wants to help this guy out. I think that Darren and Derek Jacobs are on the same team, if I'm not mistaken.
No, man, it's just too much power behind him right now. He's not going to be able to pull what he needs. I mean, he has literally got a whole lot of horsepower to this. I mean, he's got a storm of brewing behind him.
He definitely does. And they got lap traffic that's been coming into play as well as they come up, I do believe, on Randy Mullins here. I think, you know, like you said, there's a calm before the storm, and I think we're in that period right now that we're going to have that storm break out. And look at the speed from J.C. Evans. Even after the huge hit he took on the wall, he is up into 4th or 5th right now, even though his car should be done, but somehow he is up in the top 5. Wow.
And we used to see lap traffic go way high. I mean, I've even called it before. Lap car go high, lap traffic go high. But not now, not this year, man. It seems like that high line is the fast line, and everybody's wanting to get up there and take advantage of that.
Well, I think a lot of these drivers that are staying on the bottom, it is a good strategy. It can be scary for the drivers that are in the pack coming up on a car that's staying on the bottom. But the reason they do that is because it allows them the best option of getting into the draft. I think that's why they do that.
Well, 15 laps to go, you better get into something. Get into your race gear. I mean, this is the time. Everybody down on pit road. I mean, the only thing we need out right now, guys, is hammers and saws. Have that stuff on standby. The rest of the stuff, you guys go ahead and start getting that stuff ready to go to the house.
You can't take this car with you, so you might as well use it up, right?
Shut the grill down, load the fuel, boys.
Jose Acosta getting a huge push from Patrick Gitter. Jose Acosta definitely has had a fantastic showing here in that 42 machine. But here we go, 3 wide. Kenny Powell trying to go to the middle with Josh Schaffner, but it looks like he decides against it.
Looks like he is just trying to take advantage of a little bit more of a side draft. Jose Acosta now trying to be in 2 places at once. Don't know if that's going to work out too good for him.
No,
he's
definitely
got
not.
Patrick Gitter behind him, and you know Gitter will leave you out there by yourself. And I think it's just going to be a matter of time before he just puts that 42 out there by he lonesome. Oh, Kenny Powell comes down. Schaffner. Oh, there it is. Biciani, Schaffner in the wall. That is going to be the big one right there, Brian.
100%. A lot of drivers involved in that one. I'm glad I switched to that camera when I did because that caught a really good shot of Josh Schaffner getting huge damage.
Car hearts and car parts all over the place on that one. Scott Naslin, Josh Schaffner, Ryan Strunk, all recipients of the dreaded repairs required flag.
Taking a look back at this here.
When Kenny comes down, that's when I think that if you go back, you'll see that the 24 kind of came down, and then it started a flinch, if you will.
Yeah, I think he was trying to lead Josh Schaffner down, and Josh Schaffner got into, I do believe, Derek Jacobs. Yeah, Kenny Powell decided to drop down. I think Schaffner might have thought, hey, I'm clear.
And it was Schaffner's flinch right there that kind of, because at first when he did the flinch, it was okay, but unfortunately that accordion went back and came back up front, and it bit him.
And a lot of people got involved in this. Greg Wychinski, of course, has already had substantial damage. Oh, Derek Jacobs kind of went up into the 50 there.
Yeah, unfortunately.
77, Ryan Strunk as well. You see the 5 turned around the wrong direction. Who's that up there that had something else happen there?
The 5 just can't catch a break tonight.
Someone else had got into a little bit of some problems as well.
Scott Naslin. Scott Naslin and Ryan Strunk is one of those two. Greg Oston. Paul Oston, sorry.
Oh, that's the 6 of Pasalacqua I was looking at.
What, Brandon was involved in that as well?
Yeah, he was.
Oh, wow.
This is after the fact. He got loose on the apron. Didn't hit anything, though. Wow, he almost hit the inside wall, but luckily didn't. This is going to change everything. Jose Acosta in the lead. Patrick Gitter in second. Kenny Powell in third. J.C. Evans in fourth. Derek Jacobs fifth. Brian Johnson's in sixth. Pastelacqua, who almost really had a bad day there. He almost hit the wall. Is in seventh. Chris Johnson's in eighth. Paul Olson, I do believe, in ninth. Scott Neslin in 10th, possibly. But, yeah, a lot of drivers, I think, are making their exit here tonight. I think, yeah, it looks like we have only now 14 drivers that remain on the lead lap.
But don't go anywhere just yet, ladies and gentlemen. I guarantee you we are not done tearing up cars. We are going to tear up at least 3-4 more cars. I mean, it's Talladega, baby. That's just what happens. They even extended the start-finish line on this thing just so we could have a better vantage point of the wrecks.
Now, what a wreck that was.
And I'm going to tell you, too, watch Sunday. Even if it's all clear, everything could be good. If it gets to be within 10, 15 laps of the finish, and there could be no cautions, the race could have been caution-free, they're going to throw a caution. It's just, it is what it is. You just expect it. You expect to see cars torn up at the finish of Talladega.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Debris on the track. That's a chicken leg out there on the back stretch.
Somebody threw a chicken leg out there. I'll tell you what, this has been quite an exciting race. I know a lot of drivers are going home a little bit more heartbroken than others.
Yeah, but for those who actually are still in it right now, Brian, just imagine the sense of accomplishment you're going to have. Like to Derek Jacobs, here's a guy who really doesn't, he doesn't finish well in the ISCA. He usually is multiple laps down. Well, guess what? With 11 laps to go, it'll be 8-9 laps to go at the when the flag flies. And this guy's in 5th place right now.
Yeah, he has an opportunity to possibly win this race.
I mean, you understand? I mean that's one of the reasons why I love Talladega.
I mean, it gives an opportunity to guys that don't find themselves being all competitive up in it and able to battle and actually possibly put their name on the marquee. I mean, imagine what a confidence builder this is going to be for a driver like the 27.
Yeah, he gets a do-over. I mean, he's been left on the dance floor by himself, left at the altar. Now he gets to make decisions to not put himself in that position again. Also, I hope he was taking copious notes. Also, Jose Acosta out front right now. He's going to be your leader once the flag drops on this thing. We are 10 to go. It'll be 9 to go once we come back around the line, and then 8 after that, and then 7. Yeah, that's not my point. But.
That's that Alabama math coming through.
Yeah. But Jose was struggling in that first stage. I mean, he was
he was by himself for a lot of it.
It was almost about to go a lap down, if you remember. We're sitting watching, and now here he is at the end of this thing, when it counts, 10 to go in the most important stage, in my opinion, because it's the victory. But sometimes those guys that won those stages actually fare better than the guy that didn't win stages and wins the end of this thing. So
100%, you're right, and we talk about that nonstop. We always talk about how the stage wins can sometimes get you more points than the actual win itself. But think about this, Big Al. What is the best feeling in the world? Winning the actual race itself. No one remembers that you won a stage. No one remembers that. They remember you won the race.
Right, and nobody's going to remember who finished second on this thing. Nobody's going to remember the pusher.
They're going to remember who won, who crossed the start-finish line first.
Pace car is going to be getting out of the way here at most Ricky Tick. And this is that point, Brian, right before the fecal matter impacts the rotary oscillating device.
Oh, man, it definitely is. You're right. I mean, and especially with a green flag coming this close to the end. 9 laps to go. I mean, we're going to wad up some more cars. Cautions, 3 cautions.
I think we can squeeze at least 3 more cautions into this thing.
100%. Kenny Powell sleeping on that restart. And this is going to give a big opportunity, I do believe, to Patrick Gitter on the top side, really side drafting the 42.
Ooh,
Kenny Powell gets up to the bumper here.
Also gave Derek Jacobs a chance to repay that favor of the bump to Powell.
And
now he is shoving Powell.
He definitely is. He is shoving Kenny Powell into the 42. Corey Saucier moves down to the bottom side of the racetrack. I haven't talked a whole lot about that machine, as Patrick Gitter right now is in the lead. Jose Acosta getting a good run on the bottom, side by side, neck and neck for that position as we come to 8 laps to go.
And you know that Jose's not going to get left out this time. He's going to be doing everything he can to make sure he plays his cards the right way.
And what a job from J.C. Evans, giving some really good pushes to the back of Gitter.
Yeah, I thought J.C. was out of this thing. I mean,
yeah.
he had a meatball flag himself, but here he is now being a dominant pusher on that high side to the 21 of Gitter.
I mean, he went head first right into the outside wall. That is not something you come back from, but JC came back from it.
Bubblegum and duct tape, that's all we can say.
And look at this, 3 wide. Brian Johnson decides to use his brother to take him 3 wide, and that has given the bottom line an advantage here.
And Jose is starting to run away with this thing a little bit. We're watching, though, more towards the back of the pack where they are 3 wide right now. You still got that one car that's in the middle that's out there by himself.
That is Darren Mullins in the middle by himself. Heath Snyder back in this race as well, I do believe. Of course, he is a lap down.
The back of the field is starting to do those Blue Angel maneuvers there that make us all so nervous.
Yeah, but this is really hurting them a lot. They have lost the draft. I think that they need to get in line. They need to get in line.
Ooh, is that Paul Olsen that's trying to take the run on the outside?
Paul Olsen is on the inside trying to hold off Patrick Gitter, but he is in the top 5.
Man, Derek Jacobs in 3rd, Paul Olsen in 5th. Yeah, I'm feeling something. I'm feeling pretty good here tonight.
I'm telling you, this has been such a fantastic race. We're seeing guys that don't ever get that spotlight shined on them, and they're getting it here tonight.
Yeah, Jacobs really kind of gets the manifests on destiny right now with 5 laps to go on the line. I mean, right now he has really got to be a part of that trio that pushes to the front. There's another trio that is developing, though. And that's got Pasalacqua, Gitter.
Yeah, Saucier right there as well. Matt DeCiani goes to the bottom to give Paul Olsen a big push. Kenny Powell jumps up to the top in front of Pasalacqua.
They'll leave Jose out by himself. Jose returns the favor.
Jumps up in front.
He
now
says, no,
Derek
Kenny.
Jacobs the only one on the bottom.
He says, no, Kenny. You're not going to leave me out here by myself. There are 5 laps to go. Derek Jacobs down on the bottom. Paul Olsen pushing him. Matt DeCiani behind. That's going to be a 4 car. Then you got a 3 car and a 2 car. You got about every possibility of possible except for lone cars, and we know that doesn't work.
This is going to get nuts. Just look at the run on the bottom. Here comes Derek Jacobs as we come to 4 laps to go. Can Jacobs get it done? And with Paul Olsen's help.
Matt DeCiani is coming down there, and I'm telling you, something about the power of 3. I like the power of 3 when it comes to this track. Oh, nope, Matt DeCiani goes high. And then there were 2.
DeCiani jumps up in front of Patrick Gitter. So now the bottom line is going to start to fall behind unless someone joins them.
You know, Jose Acosta is going to be doing everything he can to be a stay-at-home mom.
Jose Acosta leads with coming up to 3 laps to go. Saucier tries to go underneath Gitter by himself here.
But Jose knows that nobody behind him is for him. Derek Jacobs diving real hard down there, making it 3 wide. Look at the run he has with a 64 of Darren Mullins pulling all the way up. Paul Olsen now also coming down on the inside.
And look at Brian Johnson and Chris Johnson. I wrote them off. I wrote them completely off because they had separated from the group. They had separated from the pack, but somehow they have caught the pack.
Yeah,
Wow.
You don't write anybody off to still running at Talladega.
That's right. You're right. You got to finish all the laps, Big Al.
And now 3 laps to go. Jose Acosta definitely is feeling all of the pressure. And if his mom's watching, hola, how you doing, Miss Acosta? This is good for Jose. If his son's watching, go over there and slap your dad in the back of the head and tell him to focus.
That's right. Get him to focus. Hold off that 24. As we come now to 2 to go, and they split once again. Matt DeCiani down to the bottom with Gitter.
That's just a 2-car tandem right there. A 2-car. That's a tandem right there. Gitter goes back high.
Leaving his teammate DeCiani. It looks like DeCiani gets the memo and goes up to the top.
Now Paul and...
problems for the 64. That's the 54. Paul Olsen involved. Yellow flag is out. Green, white, checkered.
And we only get one, so that means, look, here's the deal. We're going to go back. We're going to watch what happened. We're going to see who all got affected.
The main one that got affected is Paul Olsen in the 43. A heartbreaker here for him.
Yeah, but Olsen does not have that dreaded meatball flag. Corey Saucier does, Josh Schofter does, and Randy Mullins does, okay?
Taking a look at this to see exactly what happened here.
I say
trying to go through the middle here. And him and I do believe the 54, Randy Mullins, get involved. Oh, just a little touch is all it takes. Brian Johnson gets some damage there. To 99 of Chris Johnson goes around. Oh, huge hit. Wow.
Wow.
That was a big hit on the 99.
That was in stereo. We both said, oh!
He just got drop kicked.
Yeah, he got the old knee to the face.
And then here it is, and you see Heath Snyder just smashes the front end. Wow.
Yeah, man. Well, that was just unfortunate, but still, those cars are good. So the thing is, with the green-white checker, I say you stay the heck out there. The next flag ends it anyway.
That's right. Just get
once
out
the
there.
green flag comes out, all you got to do is keep her running. I don't think we're done seeing it mix up at the front here. Jose Acosta, that was probably the last thing he was wanting to see because now, Brian, it's a shotgun finish.
Yeah, I mean, there's not going to be a person out there that's going to be giving room, not going to be working together. This is all going to be every man for themselves.
A lot of drivers coming down pit road. Surprised about this because when that flag waves, they freeze the field. That's the biggest thing that people got to take away from this. And I'm going to say this: with a green-white checker, it's different than a normal checker. Because normally, because you'll still be able to race. With this scenario, you're not going to be able to race. The 5-car looks like Greg Wojcinski's going to pick up that lucky dog. He'll be getting one of his laps back. That'll put him just 2 laps down.
And what a race this has been. It has been so dramatic. I'm telling you what, you could put this on national TV and everybody would be like on the edge of their seats. Don't you agree, Big Al?
Yeah, but I would encourage them to make certain that they have 4 full points of contact round. We don't want anybody to kind of like topple over and end up chipping a tooth or something.
That's right. You better make sure you have your hands holding on to whatever your armrest is, because you don't want to fall over.
We don't want you falling up.
That's right. What a race this has been. Jose Acosta in prime position, but when it comes to a green-white checkered, I don't know if I want to lead until I get to turn 4.
Yeah, I mean, and you and I, we're going to have this conversation as they come around the line here, but it's going to be more when they're 1 to go coming out of 3 and 4 when I'm going to ask you that question. But, it's a daunting pace, a daunting place. Where do you want to be once this flag flies here at the end of this thing? Jose Acosta is going to be in the catbird seat. And like I said, he's going to be trying to be in 2 places at once. He's going to be trying to play the high side and the low side, which He's only gonna be able to show that hand one time, because after that, Kenny Powell is gonna be going where he's not.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the golden rule of plate track racing. When you can make one block, you make that second one, that person's probably not going to let you finish the race.
Yeah, and I'm hoping these guys actually are able to kind of keep the tires rolling and not spinning or sliding. You know what I mean?
Hopefully, and you talked about it. The field does freeze if a caution does come out before we hit the white flag, but you still have to make it to the checkered under your own power. So
and that's what I'm saying. I'm hoping that they'll actually kind of keep it raceable.
Yeah, at least where you can drive it there.
Yeah, we all like exciting finishes, but we want everybody to be able to take their cars home and not be all balled up.
100%. Well, here we go. Pace car lights are out, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you for tuning in here tonight to the ISCA Thursday Night Cup Series. This has been a fantastic showing. If you want to be a part of this, please look up the ISCA or iRacing Stock Car Association on the league directory of iRacing. Fantastic racing every week. And we even have 2 nights a week, Saturday as well. We definitely need a lot more participation on Saturday. So make sure you get in your applications. We are looking forward to calling your name and seeing you maybe in victory lane. Of course, this series, both series, feature some of the most talented drivers on iRacing. And so don't expect to hit the ground running, but I'll tell you what, you're going to learn a lot from being with these guys. I mean, everyone out here, they have cut their teeth against some of the most talented drivers, right, Big Al?
Absolutely. This is probably not, definitely, well, not probably not. This is definitely not a starter league. I'll say that. These guys really kind of have thousands of laps, Brian, in order to be where they're at in the series. So,
you look at. Sorry, go ahead.
Now, kudos to everybody out there that's down there doing what they're doing, because, Big Al can't do it.
And you look at a driver like the 28 of Patrick Gitter. This man has a 6,000-plus I rating. A lot of people are out there now like, what is that? That just means that he wins a lot of races,
That means Big Al will have nothing negative to say about that man.
And here we go. Pace car has taken that left turn down pit road. Jose Acosta going to have the field in his hands. Kenny Powell going to be starting up on the top side. This is going to be top versus bottom. And we're going to probably see 3, maybe even 4 wide to the finish. And the green flag is out here for the final time. Jose Acosta gets a really good restart. But Kenny Powell, with the aid of Matt DeCiani, gets side by side for the lead. You see Brandon Pasalacqua trying to push the 42. No one is going to be loyal here. There is no loyalty in a green-white checkered.
We'll be 3 wide here momentarily. Bottom row right now, still getting what it needs to get going. Jose flourishing.
Definitely is.
Top line, there's a lot of separation, trying to stay away from that side draft, but now they're realizing that they need it.
Here comes Patrick Gitter. He moves to the top. Pasalacqua thinking about moving up. But he sticks with Jose.
He will.
3 wide. Kenny Powell being hang out to dry, but he does have help from Brian Johnson from behind. 4 wide.
Derek Jacobs squeezing Powell down. That was scary right there.
And the white flag is out on the super speedway. Jose Acosta leads.
Jose is praying and holding his mouth right now. He's just wondering what's going on behind him. Well, here's what he should worry about, Matt DeCiani. He is coming down the middle, and I guarantee you, there it is.
Gitter goes to the top with Derek Jacobs. Brandon Pasalacqua comes up with a block. This could get hairy. Derek Jacobs all the way to the top, 4 wide.
That's what Jose didn't want to happen right there.
And Brandon Pasalacqua is going to lead out of turn number 4, but here comes Gitter. Does Gitter have enough pace side by side for the lead? And they're going to wreck it. And it looks like Darren Mullins is going to win at Talladega. What a finish.
Matt DeCiani actually ended up finishing that thing backwards as he made contact with Derek Jacobs further back in the field. But Darren Mullins brings it home as your winner. Patrick Gitter comes home in second. J.C. Evans third. Brandon Pasalacqua fourth. Kenny Powell fifth. Paul Osen comes home in P6. Jose Acosta seventh. Chris D. Johnson eighth. Scott Nassel ninth. Brian Johnson 10th. Ryan Strunk 11th.
And look at this move here. I'll continue the running order here in just a moment. Look at Darren Mullins. Watch this car and what he does here. They are racing so hard in front of him. He's like, okay, you leaving the bottom line open? I'm going, baby. Let's get it. And he has J.C. Evans right behind him coming out of turn 4.
J.C. Evans.
And, of course, Pasalacqua and Gitter wreck essentially close to the line. And look at Mullins. Look at this. The seas parted for him, and he wins this race.
That's a nice shot there, though, from Brandon Pasalacqua to Patrick Gitter, wasn't it?
Yeah, it definitely was. They definitely were racing very hard there. Of course, DeCiani finishes in 12th. Corey Saucier 13th. 14th, Heath Snyder. 15th, Derek Jacobs. 16th, Greg Wachinski. And I got to wait for the red to come back here. I do apologize. Of course, 17th, Randy Mullins. 18th, Josh Schaffner. 19th, Mark Sanchez. 20th, Shane Parrish.
21st, Alexander Carr. 22nd, Blair Holloman. And 23rd, Al Koslowski.
And what a race.
Mullins is doing a little bit of a Polish victory lap there. He's definitely got to be feeling pretty good, Brian, and you called it best. We have yet another first-time winner here for the season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, we saw a different winner in Stage 1, a different winner in Stage 2, and a different winner in Stage 3. So, I mean, wow, just what a fantastic showing. I mean, I can't leave this race being disappointed because it was just fantastic. But with that, Big Al, I say we take a quick step away and we come back with our post-race show where we'll talk to these guys and get their feelings.
Right.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms. From camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgot.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I'm so tough, bro. We get a hug, right? What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
It's gonna get hot today. Grab an ice cold sun drop and show us how you drop it.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
Drop it.
Cause I got it going on. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
A thirst-quenching citrus soda just dropped coast to coast. Sun drop.
That's how you drop it. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's
Yeah, where is everybody? You mean pull them up?
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like we do have J.C. Evans in the booth here, our third place finisher. J.C., what a fantastic job. I mean, we wrote you off, man, after that huge hit on the wall, but you come home and get third, even almost had a chance for the win. Walk us through that last bit of the race.
I have no idea even where to begin because I thought I was done when I smacked that wall. I mean, having 40 seconds of required repair and another 5.5 of optional to go, I really thought the car was not going to be aero like dynamic sensitive speed wise, anyways. Yeah, I don't even know.
And of course, yeah, I mean, it defied our expectations. I mean, you went literally head first into the outside wall, and you were telling me during the commercial break that you had about 40 seconds of required, but had 5 minutes of optional. I mean, do you think if you had gotten into the lead that, then the arrow might have affected you, or?
Well, that was the trouble was I was afraid of trying to jump for the lead because every time like if I got the car out in the air, open air, it was just going to drag backwards so bad. So yeah, my goal was just to try to like just keep the car in the draft and up to speed and not let that happen. And somehow I did.
Do you think that maybe made you a better pusher? Maybe that damaged, I mean, because it seemed like you were really able to push Patrick Gitter fairly well there.
Yeah, the setup was real fast in this car. I mean, this car, it's just really good at pushing. It was so good when I lost the draft like twice in this race, and no one can get to my rear bumper. So it was a fast car.
It definitely seemed like it for sure. Talladega, I mean, this is such a fantastic race. We're all on the edge of our seats all race long. I mean, how did it feel in the car? I mean, how your heartbeat probably was going a mile a minute.
Well, the other thing was I'm so wore out because actually my car was not driving straight on the straightaway, so it was actually pulling on the left a little bit. So just to keep it going straight was a challenge.
Yeah, definitely a lot of difficulties there for you, but you still managed to overcome it all and finish third. What does this do for your confidence level when it comes to tracks in the future? Of course, I know that you've always been a fast driver, but you always seem to have bad luck. How do you think this helps your confidence going into Dover next week?
Well, it definitely rebounds from last week with the Martinsville incident. So going into Dover, which is another tough racetrack to go to, which I've been hit or miss. I've had some good runs. I've had some crashes and stuff like that because it's Dover. It's you expect crashes all the time. Um, Other than that, like just getting up to speed and um, hope that for the best. Like next week, yeah, definitely. Like driving these tough tracks, I've actually been doing better than I thought I would.
Yeah, you definitely have definitely been pulling it together, and you've had a lot of speed. Like I said, we've seen it time and time again. It seems like you've been getting better and better and better, and wouldn't be surprised to see you in victory lane very very soon. We definitely wish that for you for sure. Who can we give a shout out to you, JC, after that third place finish? And what a miraculous comeback!
Yeah, it's setup was done by Timothy Smith. He gave a setup over at Buster's Corner, and this car was just flying fast. Even I had like 2 wrecks in A opens, and I went from like 12th to 6th on the last lap, even with damage. So, yeah, hats off to him for this awesome setup. Of course, Braden McDonald's family, his mom Erin, and Braden's young siblings, his brother and sister, who all are still grieving over the loss. Shout out to them. And I'm still thinking about them, and this third place is for them.
Definitely important to get that out. I think we've actually talked a little bit about that. I think previously. So definitely, whatever means good, means a lot to you. It definitely means a lot to us as well. I'm glad that you have a little bit of a platform here with that third place to be able to kind of share that. Thanks for your time, JC, and we'll talk to you probably, hopefully, very soon. Just considering this momentum, this is going to give to you.
Yep. Thank you, and see you in Dover.
All righty, that was J.C. Evans, our third place finisher. Next up, Big Al is standing by with Patrick Gitter, our second place.
Patrick Gitter, Big Al, up in the booth once again. Congratulations to you, sir, for bringing it home in second place.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. It was a good race. I mean, I got my teammates to thank for second place finish. I got to thank Elite Performance Industries. Our race set is just stupid fast this week. I just felt like I could push anybody up to the front that I needed to. Whenever we needed to get up there. They're coming to the finish. Just unfortunate. Felt like I had that win locked, and then Brandon gives me a tap, I guess, to pull me back, and not the finish we wanted, considering the position we were in there, coming out of 4. But glad to see Darren got the win, though. Another teammate from EPI grabbed that tonight. So just happy, at least if it's not me, it's someone else on our team.
Yeah, man, just a total, like, an unfortunate set of circumstances all around tonight. We didn't get our green flag pit stops. Well, half of the field did. But how did that actually, let's go back to this, because you did win stage 2. So let's go back to the third stage here, kind of where we were getting into the run of the green flag pit stops, and then all of a sudden we had that caution. How did that really affect you guys with your strategy, if at all?
Yeah, I mean, Matt and I were linked up for the majority of that stage 3 run. We got separated a little bit from the lead pack, maybe 5 or 10 laps before we really intended to come in for green flag pit stops. And so we came in a little bit earlier than we planned. We were starting to get separated from the pack, from that lead pack of 6 cars or so. So we came in and pitted, and then as we were leaving pit road, caution came out. So it actually worked out real well. We were just happy to get the pack group back up, for another restart, and we were able to keep the nose clean and stick with it for the rest of the run after that one.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna tell you, it was definitely inspirational watching you, because a couple of times where you kind of lost the pack, and I'm gonna say this, I mean, you were sliding it in like butter, sir. I mean, we were watching you, and you were just waiting right there at the last minute, just like getting right up in the top to be able to take the dominant position, and that's not easily done. So kudos to you for that.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. It's with Dega. I mean, it's challenging to try to you see the run coming, and you have to time the run where you want to get out in front of them so that they don't have time to cross you over or hang you out. But at the same time, you don't want to throw an egregious block and cause a caution. And the top line here is so dominant. So it's trying to position yourself. We had the car to do it tonight. So again, just shout out to EPI and Elite for what they do for us. Race that's phenomenal. Can't say enough about that.
Yeah, definitely, man. It looked like it was awesome. Next week we head to Dover. A little bit of a different track, different surface, new tire model, new damage model. Number one, are you going to be back? And 2, what can we expect to see from your camp?
Yeah, I would love to come back Thursday night next week if I'm able to. I love Dover. Dover it's going to be such a change from Dega, where Dover, it's concrete track, tire wear is huge. You can wear the tires out in a hurry. So big tire wear conservation. Elite was super strong last season at Dover. That was one of my best weeks last season. And our teammates as well. Matt had excellent runs there last season. So I think we'll bring some strong cars, some fast cars. So we'll see what happens with getting taken out for the win. I'll be keeping an eye on Brandon next week if I come back. So we'll see what happens.
Will we see you as a fixture here in the ISCA, or is this something that you'll be doing in a limited capacity?
I think I think it depends. My schedule kind of changes on and off week to week, and but it's. I've been impressed this league when I've come in and run. Generally, it's been good racing. We'll run a few races, but I've enjoyed it. I run with a lot of these guys in the A Opens each week. So shout out to Kenny for just putting this together. I know he's really the front runner for leading all this. So shout out to him for setting these up. Like I said, hopefully be back next week for Dover.
Yeah, definitely, sir. It's a pleasure to watch you. It made our job so much easier up here in the booth. Congratulations for bringing it home here in P2. You started this thing on the pole. Probably not the finish you wanted, but hey, it's the finish you got. Before we let you go, once again, buddy, who you shouting out for your second place finish tonight?
Yeah, man. Biggest thing, shout out to Elite. Again, their set's been phenomenal this week. The race set's just on fire. Shout out to them. We've had such good luck week to week this season with those. And the race sets are so important here. I mean, qualifying, you can start in the back. It doesn't matter. If you get the pole, great. If not, you're in the back and work way up. But again, shout out to those guys. Shout out to my teammates, Matt DeCiani. He and I were working together pretty closely all race. Shane Parrish, Mark Sanchez, the guys on our team too. They got taken out a little early in the run, but shout out to those guys. And then Darren, I mean, a heck of a run with him just to be there at the end. It's funny. I told him when we were under that last caution, hey, just follow Matt and I and be in the right spot when you need, and he did it. So, shout out to him. And Martin PC, one of our other co-sponsors, they do great work with PC building and accessories, things like that. So check them out. I think that's all I got tonight. So thanks guys for the broadcast, and hope to see you next week.
Yep, roger that. And I always say, don't party too hard, boss.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
All righty, that was Patrick Gitter, our second place finisher. Next up, we talked to Darren Mullins with a shocking victory. Darren, I mean, man, you only led 2 laps in this whole race, but you led the one that counted the most. You won this race with I gotta say, I mean, I'm sorry about my words, but a ballsy move. I mean, that was crazy to see that you had just jumped underneath, and then all of a sudden when Brandon and Patrick had gotten together, you took advantage and were able to secure the victory. Did you think you were going to get that win out of turn 4?
No, I got a message from Patrick, and I planned on, hanging with them. He jumped to the outside, and I was going to go with him, to push him to the win, and they both just turned left and disappeared out of my view, and there was nothing but a checkered flag in front of me.
Yeah, I know you've had your fair share of, problems out on the racetrack yourself, bad luck and things like that. What do you think this does to turn all that around? Do you feel like you're going to be a new Darren Mullins?
Yeah, I mean, it's finally good to win, your first win. We've had a lot of speed since joining EPI. They've got a real fast set, as always. So since we've joined them, we've turned it around. We've had a lot of speed. So it's been nice, and hopefully this is one of many, and we can get going on some wins.
Yeah, it definitely seems like they have definitely given you a lot of pace there on the racetrack. So definitely big shout outs to them for doing that and giving you the confidence as well. I think a big part of it is the confidence, and you were able to really take advantage of that and work together. And we didn't see you a whole lot all race. What was the game plan like all race long, just to kind of stay out of trouble?
Yeah, I mean, that's key. You got to have a little luck with that, just be in the right place at the right time. I got a little damage on that one incident, but it wasn't nothing bad. Got that fixed, so didn't hurt the car at all. You just got to stay out of trouble. A little game of chess, and them G&G boys, they outnumber you, so you got to have some teammates out here to run against them and to try to actually win. You got to have some numbers.
Well, it seemed like you guys definitely had that here tonight. Able to, I do believe, finish a 1-2 there for EPI. So I'm sure that's going to be, a big thing for you guys for sure to be able to come up against those G&G boys, if you will. Of course, guys definitely had a fast car for sure. Dover, of course, comes up next week. How do you feel about that? I mean, that's definitely a track that I know Talladega was very setup dependent. How do you feel about Dover in general? I know that you've been running in this series a lot, and you've had probably some experience with Dover. How are you going to draw on that?
Yeah, I actually like Dover, like Bristol. It's a technical track. You got to hit your mark, and you definitely better take care of your tires there. That's something that just because you got a fast car don't mean you go fast. You got to take it easy for a little bit and conserve them tires at Dover. But I'm looking forward to it. That's one of my favorite tracks.
I do have to ask also, have you made up with your son, Randy?
Yeah, I know. I told him it's downloaded there, the old Martinsville number 54. I owe him one. He knows.
That's right. I know that you guys did have a little bit of some history there for sure, but you got to forgive your son. Come on now.
We laugh about it. We got our little rivalry with one another, but that wasn't intentional. It was just a racing deal. It was no big deal, but yeah, we have a lot of fun with it.
Well, that's good. It is so heartwarming to see a father and son, kind of competing in the same hobby. It really, I'd say, does, really a lot for your bonding, I'd say for sure. So, definitely I love to see that for sure, Darren. And after this big win here tonight, only 2 laps led. You started in 16th. and finished in first. Your first win in the ISCA. Who can we shout out for you?
Definitely all the sponsors that help us do this, the league owner, Ram Welding Fabrication, EPI for a fast car tonight, and all my buddies I race with, man. Enjoy it all.
All right. Well, definitely thanks for your time, Darren, and congratulations. I can't say it enough. Congratulations on the win. One more question. How are you going to celebrate this one?
Well, today is 420, right?
Oh, Lord, here we go. It is, yes. Well, actually not technically anymore. It is 12:09 now.
No,
Nah,
it
I
is.
was just kidding. I was just kidding.
I
Nah,
know.
we're
I'm
gonna
just,
talk.
yeah.
Yeah, we're just messing.
Well, definitely, hopefully you enjoy it. And as Big Al always says, I hate to steal from him, but don't party too hard, Darren. And congratulations, man. You deserve it. So glad to see you up in victory lane. Can't wait to see what this does for your iRacing career.
All right, man. Thanks, guys. Looking forward to the next one.
All righty, that was Darren Mullins, our big winner here tonight for the Sundrop 313. And what a fantastic performance he put on. What a fantastic performance for every driver out there. Wouldn't you say, Big Al? I mean, these guys put together quite the show. I mean, we were on the edge of our seats the whole entire time.
Oh, yeah, man. It was one of the most amazing Talladega races that we've seen thus far on the sim. And with the advent of the new damage model, the tire model, it made the race so much more exciting. And just thanks to all of our sponsors, thanks to Sundrop, thanks to TLC, thanks to Kenny Powell for putting the lead on thanks to Kenny Powell for putting the league on. Thanks to you, Brian, being the best co-commentator the dude could have on Thursday night, man. And congratulations again to Darren Mullins for bringing it home. And, man, overall, I can just say it was a great production.
It definitely was. And I do want to give one more shout out to as well to Derek Jacobs. I was really rooting so hard for him in that 27. I wouldn't mind getting a little bit of a clarification on what happened there. He actually finished with a lap down, so I'm sure I'll get into that for sure. But hopefully he takes away from this what he should, that he has the speed to be able to get it done. Congratulations to him for being up in that top 5 and in position to win. Congratulations to everybody that was up in there. I mean, we saw so many different leaders here tonight, but also a big shout out to Kenny Powell for making all this possible and putting on, such a great league that we come up here and we call these races, and they're just so much fun, and we just have so much fun. We want to give a big shout out as well to all the people out there that watch and support their families that are out here competing. We definitely appreciate you as well. And, of course, if you are looking for a new league to join, ISCA is definitely the one that I think you should jump into. I mean, there's so much respect in this series. Everybody runs each other with just, a lot of respect, a lot of talent out here. And if you're looking to learn, this is definitely a place to be. So look up the iRacing Stock Car Association on, of course, the league directory, or get in contact with Kenny Powell. He'll definitely point you in the right direction for sure. And big shout out to you as well, Big Al, for being the best co-commentator I could ask for as well. And we appreciate everybody out there tuning in. Make sure you tune in, of course, this Saturday, about 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, the broadcast will go live around 9:15, just to give you a little bit of some buffers. That way you can get in here on time. Race goes green a little after 9:30. We'll be doing another 118 laps at Talladega. Big band Talladega. She never disappoints. Can't wait to see you there for sure on Saturday. Of course, next Thursday, if you want to tune in and keep track of the Thursday series, we will be at Dover International, and looking forward to that for sure. Of course, Miles the Monster, got to be hungry for some race cars, that's for sure. Of course, same time, same place. We appreciate everybody once again tuning in, and we'll see you next time. This has been the ISCA.